I'm also hoping to have the new intro done within the next couple of weeks, which will be fun because I feel like it'll be more stylized way for folks to visualize everybody's character as well. So we can do an intro instead of the first intro was kind of introducing the idea of the arcs that I worked on, bringing back a couple of scenes from season 1. But I want the next intro to be mostly focused on what your characters look like, which is why we're going to have a little fun tonight in the sense that I don't know if that anyone out there watching or listening to this later on. One of my favorite things that I've loved to do for time immemorial for a very long time is I love to give players characters time dilation, a kind of way of whenever we finish a major arc, which we finished last session, and we'll do a quick session recap here in a moment. And then, but we're also going to talk a little bit about maybe introducing a couple new homebrew rules depending on the agreement of the table. I've had success with the getting rid of the spell slot system on 2 of my tables now. And I'd be interested in hearing from you guys in regards to what your thoughts might be about getting rid of spell slots. But we're going to do a time dilation tonight where the players get to kind of describe either individually or collectively. But before we jump into that, before we jump into the recap, I'm wondering how much time does a team feel like could potentially go by? What's a good kind of timeline? Because in our real lives, we're coming up at the end of summer and the potentially beginning of fall. Now, obviously, in the Odorland Wilds and in the city of Jrusar, that may not mean much because it's a jungle environment, right? It's tropical. It's either very hot or almost like super warm. So the environment is very resistant to how much time you'd kind of like to pass by. Obviously, there may be a potential decision moving forward. Are we finally going to be leaving Jrusar and investigating other lands that might be or other cities and other regions of the area? I think, with the exception of one other campaign, this may be the longest city campaign I've seen so far, where we've been in one city now for 40 sessions of one full arc in the same city.
We've almost destroyed half the city twice, too.
That's not fair. You've only destroyed 2 spires.
Destroy the whole city.
Almost. we have caused 3 spires. We've caused mass destruction on 3 spires now. We've got Smolder. We blew up. We crashed the airship on the Airy Spire. Yep. We got attacked / giant balls of fury falling on us on the Core Spire.
Yeah.
So, we've got 2 left. So
you got the Lantern Spire, the Lucent Spire. I mean, you could always go for the destruction of the you could always go for the destruction of the Fate Walk Bridge. I mean, it is the key landmark of the entire
but that's also like the highway to our shop. So.
Yep.
We strategically start destroying all of the other.
Actually, we're gonna buy it. We're gonna put tolls on both sides. So we have to pay a toll to.
It's just crazy. And what level are we now? What level
9.
did we hit? Level 9.
Okay.
9. Now comes the long, inevitable choices that we'll have to make. And I feel like with the way we left off, and I'm going to do a generalized recap. So with the way that the team had discovered the plan of the changeling known as Lavion, who was working in tandem with the Minotaur Spike, as it seems that the 2 Fey-like creatures were plotting a means of destroying those powers that be within Marquet, as they seem to blame all non-Fey creatures for the destruction of the Feywild. We've also tapped a little bit into some of the idea of the Shadowfell having some remnants of itself still being left behind. But the team managed to infiltrate the Chandei Quorum tower. There they faced off against Lavion. defeating and killing Lavion, but before disposing of his body, Karina had made sure that his head was secured so that she could eventually do a special ability or one of your features or spells or something where you could
consume mind.
Yeah, consume mind, which
should just retitle it to brains with like 4
days. Yeah, it sounds horrific. And with the while
with
at the same
fava beans and a nice Chianti.
at the same time, it would seem that Elith was in dire need of rescue, which then triggered Father Atrium's near summoning of a something called Legion, although we haven't technically done any research on that, so we don't know really what that meant. Father Atrium actually turned out to be a greater demon that was using the Temple of the Dawnfather as a front and attempting to use Inquisitor Elith as a means to open the gateway and allow Legion to enter into the material plane. Unable to destroy such a massive and powerful creature, it would seem at the last minute either the creature did it himself or with the help of what was his name? With the help of Kaleem, the priest of the Wild Mother, a kind of organic a containment field was built up around the temple, and between whatever Father Atrium had executed as a means to protect himself and the gateway, and whatever it was that Kaleem did, which was a kind of protection from good and evil effect that was put up around the temple as well. It's solidified into this hardened kind of vegetative surface that made it impossible to pass through either in or out, kind of securing the temple and therefore preventing Father Atrium from ever concluding whatever it was he was in the midst of concluding. And I believe that's kind of where we last left off with the containment, destruction, the reestablishment of Jaman Sa'ord being recognized as still being alive. And while the chaos of the city had eventually died down and the team found themselves all kind of gathering back eventually at the Prancing Centaur, and which kind of eventually led us to the conversation about how that became the conclusion of chapter 1 of the arc, which I think when we really finished off, I gave one of those brief insights into a very angry Minotaur somewhere out in the Hellcatch, muttering under his breath as he was walking through numerous aisleways containing prisoners of Fae as well as prisoners of non-Fae, and simply stated, "Get rid of them all. We have to come up with a new plan," as we now begin to understand that Spike's plan, and maybe even Crimp, do we even know what Crimp has to do with any of this? Also, the strange arrangement, now that all the houses have fallen and the Chandei Quorum is no more, and Jaman Sa'ord seems to be the only person remaining who is still in charge. What does this mean for the city? What does it mean for the fact that there are no houses in power, as all the houses of Loomis, Treshy, and the rest of them have fallen due to the absence of the Chandei Quorum and the near takeover by Lavion and his mercenary soldiers? So this brings us full circle to where we concluded. Now, ideas about time dilation. Let's focus on that first, and then we'll talk about getting rid of spell slots and see what you guys think. So how much time does the table feel like they would like to go by, like to move through? And how much time do you think your character might need to do some extra development, whether it's research or trying to do some self-identifying development, character development? What are some ideas about that time dilation? And keep in mind, you guys are not trying to save the world, so time is always a constant. technically this is a victory for the most part. Although Father Atrium's form was not destroyed and the Chandei Quorum was not really reestablished, but Javan Saord was given the ability to once again conclude this idea of unifying both Ankarel and Jrusar together. And Javan Saord did express some concerns about whether or not the Hellcatch Valley is still completely devolved of any complicity in this activity that's been going on in the city. But what are some thoughts on some time that might go by?
Mine was, I didn't think more than a few weeks to a few months just because of the professor's situation in his home realm. I think it was, I phrased it, he's got a husband that's worried about him and 3 eggs that may or may not be chicks at this point. So like, he's an honorable burb, but he has limits. Like I'm a lawful guy, but it's like, I don't live here. I have nothing invested in this beyond y'all. Like,
y'all.
He'd say that too. He's very.
I love it. He comes from the plain of Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. Y'all.
Yeah, in my head, I was kind of thinking like a month or 2, but not more than that.
Okay. Anybody else?
I was spending more of my time writing down what I want to do and then figure out how many months it would take to do it.
This could also, what do you think, Tally? You were about to say something.
Oh, no. I think a couple of months is a good time. It seems like there is still a lot of pressing stuff happening around us. But it would be nice to, I guess, do more research and level up and use my exceeding wealth.
The time dilation and leveling up. I always love how you try to sneak in a level up in any conversation. One of the reasons I love Tally so much.
Every things.
It's such a beautiful attempt at just one quick level up.
A couple of months.
It's the WoW character that never leaves the starting zone and just kills boars until they're like,
yeah.
50,
I love it. What do you think, Rye? Couple months?
Yeah.
I feel like we did kind of introduce a potential main arc plot with Eritrea.
Yeah.
As during the cascading events and all the tension that was going on, it would appear that the divinity statue had given you something before crumbling away into dust. Mm-hmm. And there was really no sense of power or magic immediately associated to it. But, when you're given a stone that actually looks like it's in the shape of a heart, like the physical organ of a heart, that definitely kind of gives you some opportunities to develop what that may do.
You would try that thing like Volo does and like cut your own heart out and stick that one in there and just replace it.
Volo's a madman. Don't listen to him. Volo's crazy.
But like Baldur's Gate 3, like, hey, let me get that worm out of your eye, and he like digs your eyeball out, and then he replaces it.
Yeah. I reiterate, he's crazy.
Yeah.
That man is not stable. So we're all feeling pretty good about 2 months will go by.
2-3 months, yeah, sure.
Well, two or 3.
Let's do 2. I think because Jalbatross, you didn't want more time because you have your husband at home. So I think 2.
2 months.
2 is good.
Okay. Is anybody traveling away from the city for a period of time and would like to visit maybe nearby lands during that 2 months travel? Because the Air Spire would be functional again, and the airships would be functional for traveling to other major cities.
Would Karina be able to travel to see Karina Prime or to her old estates?
Ooh, I think visiting Karina Prime could very well be possible. I don't see why not. Rockhaven is a traveling sauropod on the vast deserts area. I think it would be an opportunity for Karina to travel to Bassaris, and then from Bassaris track down Karina Prime and possibly learn a little bit more of the Hellcatch Valley and get caught up with Karina Prime in regards to what might be going on. I think that's a good idea.
I'd like to visit my sister, who I think is also on Rockhaven.
She has moved on to the secret sanctuary that is keeping all the Fae safe.
Oh, okay.
So that might be a conversation you can have with Artagnan's alter ego to try to figure out where that might be, and therefore gain some knowledge about what this safe haven is potentially all about.
All right.
The professor hasn't gone anywhere, but I figure he's probably really pissed off a lot of the workforce at multiple libraries and planar gates just having kind of screamed back and forth conversations with Giancarlo to the point where like everyone in there is just like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Technically, Giancarlo's on this plane too.
Yeah. Well, I know that now. Yeah.
Giancarlo's in first class. You're at the shitter in the back of economy, right?
Well, yep. Honey, turn around and head home. I have to stay here for I'm committed. What is it you mean with this?
Oh, that's right. Giancarlo is now on this plane, isn't he? I forgot about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm not the raising kid type.
Oh, I'm the kind that butchers accents out in the wilds.
I live in my sous chef. Nothing will come to them.
I boil your bottom, sons of a silly person.
So we'll do a 2-month time dilation, and we'll get everybody's details in a moment. So I have borrowed a rule stat or a rule stat, but like a rule structure from Shadow Dark. They have a magic structure, which I think is it's a lot more fun. It's easier. We don't have to worry about spell slots. So instead of using a spell slot and kind of having to manage that bit of resource, instead, and my warlock players seem to love this rule change because it lets them actually do more with the available spells that they have. It's not that obviously warlocks are still kind of limited to spell prep, so there still is a kind of limiting factor there. But rather than just burning your 2 spell slots and then suddenly you've got nothing to do but shoot your laser beams at people, and I know for some players, Tally, like to be super creative with their spells and have fun with them. Instead, you make a casting roll for your spell. So whether it's natural, divine, or arcane, the base rule is it is a base 10 number plus the level of your spell. So if you're trying to cast a level 4 spell, then you're obviously going to need to roll a 14 or higher. But you would still add your spell casting modifier to the attempted roll. So if your spell casting modifier is like an 8 or 9 or 7 or 6, whatever it might be, you'd roll that d20, and then you'd add that to the roll, and that would determine as to whether or not the spell goes off, is successbut
So technically, you always roll to hit for your spell.
Well, not that you always roll a hit for your spell.
Like to cast, but I mean, yeah.
Correct. It's a casting roll. To successfully cast your spell, you would need to meet or beat that number for successfully casting it. Now, it's a balance of reward versus, risk reward. The risk is, what if I'm rolling horribly all night long and none of my spells get cast? The reward is you can cast your favorite spell as often as you want, right? So there's that risk reward factor in there as well. Now, if you successfully meet or beat the roll, spell goes off, and the normal description of the spell simply is the indicator of what happens. I mean, targets may still have saves, or whatever the description of the spell is, goes off like normal.
And it's the spell modifier, not the spell attack modifier.
Correct.
Or the modifier, not the spell attack.
Correct.
So
'cause I
there's
think
like a really good chance it's like a 50% chance you won't be able to cast a spell. Like my spell modifier is +4.
What's your
So-
spell attack modifier?
+8.
Oh, maybe it is the spell attack modifier I'm supposed to
I was
use.
gonna say you and I are exactly the same.
Maybe,
boat.
maybe I'm thinking of the wrong. I might be thinking of the wrong bonus from the other table. I think we are using the spell attack modifier because that makes sense for the risk of the failure of the cast. So yeah, I apologize. It is your spell attack modifier.
Okay.
It would be that
Gotcha.
modifier.
So
there-
how does that work out of combat?
Same, exactly
Free
the
spells?
same.
Oh,
so
okay, so
yeah, so like whenever you try, so the idea of this is that it frees up your spell prep list so that you can maybe create a little bit more variety and availability of spells on a daily basis. Because obviously with a narrative, with a very narrative kind of role playing campaign like we're playing, it would be nice to have a much more balanced spell list and a much more available spell list to kind of, because as we saw in the last 2 sessions, you went from combat to combat. It was like, we were in this big heavy combat, and then all of a sudden, we had to run towards this other big heavy combat that was potentially going to unravel as well, which, hit points are still hit points. So that, there's no guarantee you're going to be on your feet long enough to take advantage of that spell casting ability, right? So it's always a truncheon of risk and reward and what makes something more. And for me, the riskier something is, the more fun the reward could potentially be. Therefore, if you have your favorite spells you like to use, the spell slot thing just kind of really makes it a little bit too like I've noticed with the 4 AP system, we're not nearly as reserved as we used to be. With the 4 AP, you guys are far more creative and inventive. You're able to do more skill checks because a skill check just costs you an AP. I've seen Ryan's character cast 2 spells in a row. So it really makes your magical ability feel magical because of the AP system. And I really feel like getting rid of spell slots will alleviate the frustration that Karina's had with, all right, that's my 2 spell slots. I'm done for the day. I'm going to go hide in a corner and pew things with my laser beams. That kind of defeats the purpose of having fun with your character.
So that would work on the bonus action spells as well. So like Misty Step.
Anything that's a spell will require a spell casting roll. It's a designated spell. Now, if it says an ability or a trait or a feat, obviously those aren't technically spells. Now, if you successfully cast, everything's fine, you move on. If you fail the casting roll, then you have to roll a D100 on a wild magic table. And then that outcome is what occurs after the failed spell. The lower the number, the worse off you are. The higher the number, the potential something amazing might happen, if that makes sense. So, for example, one of the effects is you turn into a block of cheese.
Yay.
In fight.
And that's one of the higher ones, right?
That's more mid-tier.
The high stinky.
Another one is you turn into a puddle of water. Another one is you basically have a glow effect on you that lasts for 24 hours. Or I know 1 through 4 is a psychic dissonance, where your spell is so badly cast that the power of the arcane energy erupts all around you, and everyone around you takes 5d12 psychic damage from the failed cast. So, you get all these fun benefits of using whatever spells you want because they're not all available to you. But there is a subtle chance that the risk could be deadly and challenging at the same time. What's everyone's thoughts on that?
I'm pretty okay with this. This seems like it adds an element of chaos that I love. Like, I might be playing Lawful for once in my life, but like, nah, man, chaos. We're good.
I rolled my my percentile dice and got a 98, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah, should we all roll a percentile dice to see how I really want to roll mine.
I feel like the disadvantage of this is like you might roll a nat as paladin might roll a nat 20 and try to smite and get a bad roll and you can't smite, whereas previously smite was a thing that was guaranteed. The same with healing, like there's no guarantee of healing.
Yeah, that's come up a few times. The way we fixed that is we kind of changed the rules a little bit for paladins. For their divine casting, whenever they're casting smite, it avoids the wild magic table, and it also avoids the casting roll as well. So we purposely left smite out of the rule change. We left it in there, but we still took away spell slots because honestly, your availability of smite should be based on your divinity of your existence. And I don't understand why a powerful individual like a paladin should be somehow hamstrung by the fact that your god only loves you this much, enough to give you this much ability to do this much stuff. You know what I mean? So all your other spells would still be under the effect, but we took smite out of the effect. So you can use smite. You and Professor Jabatros can use smite as often as much as you want and inherent. Now, smite will still cost you 2 AP. It's still a spell, so it's still going to cost you 2 AP to use smite because it is technically a spell. But we left it out of the configuration and we kind of made it more of a kind of like a paladin class feature that's unique to the paladin class feature, if that makes sense. Does that help?
I think
yeah,
smite,
that is helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I think right now the way we have smite set up is it's a free action that you can, because it's a paladin class feature, you can smite without it costing any AP. It's like just part of your action. So if I were to choose between these two options, I would rather have a smite I have to roll for that is a free action rather than having to pay 2 AP, which would like mean a lot fewer attacks at the end of the day.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. Once again, it's that risk reward factor. You know, you no longer have to calculate the slots. The question is, am I willing to take on, you know, less AP opportunity and, you know, risk that, you know, that casting feature? So that's a good point. It's a solid point. I like it.
It helps level off the instant damage output, but gives the option to maintain it over a long time, as opposed to, I'm going to attack every time, right? And I smite every attack because I hit every attack. So then you have 2 attacks per action, 4 actions, 8 attacks, 8 smites, and use up all your spell slots like round 1, right?
Yeah, like how many, quick question for you, Melody and Jabatros. How many total spell slots do you currently have?
Right now, I have 4 plus 3 is 7 plus 2 is 9.
9.
No, plus 3 is 10.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I'm one less. I have.
You're multi-class, though, right?
I've taken some bards, so that's probably why.
Yeah. So from a calculus, right, in the 4 AP system, if you wanted to, right, because you get 2 attacks per AP, correct, Melody?
Correct.
You and Jabatros both. So in a single round, you could smite 8 times.
Mm-hmm. But not if a smite costs 2 AP. Exactly.
Instead, you'd only, in a single round, you would smite twice.
I couldn't smite 4 times. Well, I could.
So you're saying if she smote on every attack action, it would be 2 AP every time?
Sorry, no, it would be, no, you're correct.
So she
because if you're consuming the spell slot, if we truly
I'm talking about the other way, the new rule way. It would be consuming the spell slot would be 8, yeah.
It would be 2 AP.
Theoretically.
So, yeah, Melody's right. So if Melody attacks twice in a single round and decides to smite each attack, then she's burning through all of her AP with 2 attacks. Because she's technically in that gray area of, smiting each time. Otherwise, you're spending an AP to attack, and then you're spending 2 AP to smite. during that attack. Therefore, she's burning through 3 AP to make that single attack. Whereas now, in the current way we do it, she's burning 1 AP to attack and then inherently smiting each time. And the only control vector for her is a number of available slots that lets her determine, which for the cadence of a paladin, it's all about damage output, right? That's the fun part about a paladin, is the balance between how much damage output's available to me because of the number of spell slots combined with my AP. Whereas if we institute 0 spell slots, it weakens the paladin, but elevates the warlock and elevates all the other traditional casters for the most part.
It weakens the paladin at the burst damage.
It would be like
it one round burst damage goes down.
It would be a huge nerf. It would be like a huge nerf for Paladin, because we could go from potentially smiting 8 times to like literally the max we could smite was, I think, once per turn.
Yeah, once per turn, yeah.
And we could smite at our highest level, but like for Paladins, like for a straight Paladin, like level 3 is our highest level. And the highest a full Paladin gets to, I think, is like level 5.
Right.
So I think the new system sounds cool, but I would not want to move to a system where smiting costs 2 AP.
Yeah.
If there's like a compromise where there's like just a cap on number of smites, or like,
well, no, because I don't want to cap anything, because I've been enjoying watching the paladins actually do stuff, and that's always the interesting thing about introducing homebrew tweaks into each individual table. The table that's currently using it to quite a deal of success, none of them are paladins, none of them are divine, because they're all pirates. So none of them have divinity. So it's all either natural magic or arcane magic. You know, I've got a warlock, a monk, a druid, along with I think a rogue, and I forget who the 5th one is. So that table's a lot safer with the rule change because of the lack of balance required for the institution of the spell slots. Now I know, Foreign, you have spell slots, right?
Yeah,
but they're minor. They're not a major contingency for your character.
I mean, it's usually for my ranger setups. Like I'm gonna set like the ambush prey and stuff like that.
And I think for Eritreo's character, the only key advantage maybe to introducing those spell slots is that your availability of things are more extended. You can actually extend out your power base because you're still going to have the same level of consumption, because spells for you are still 2 AP.
So for a paladin compromise, maybe to use the new system, if instead of adding 2 more spell slots to use the smite, what if it takes a 1 AP action and turns it into a 2 AP action?
What if
if you want to attack and smite, then that's 2 AP total for that attack and smite, but you can smite on both attacks.
What if we just say there's a rule that you can only smite once per action?
I mean, I'm fine with that. Like, I don't think
I love that
more than that ever.
So you can smite once per action. So like even if we hit 2 nat 20s, you can only do it once, but we could theoretically do up to 4 smites in a turn.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's perfect. And that way that allows you to benefit from not having to track those spell slots anymore.
Yeah.
But also still maintain the majority of the benefit of the damage output because of the inherent ability of smites.
Okay.
See, you can always tell when Kurt's thinking with his engineer brain. He's doing multi-math layers of calculus. and Alexa's like, no. Just one smite per action. Let's keep it simple. Yeah, I love that. That's a great fix. I'm going to take a note on that one and add that to the homebrew rule. Now, is there any, I know we already talked about potions, all potions being a free action, which I love because I really want players to use them. I don't feel like there ever really truly feels like, because either you're using potions as a means to pre-buff, which we did a lot the last couple sessions, right? Where you were taking potions, like invisible potions, polymorph potions, and stuff like that. But I think that balance of should I burn an AP to drink a potion, or can I use that AP for something that may be potentially better or more successful or least risky in the balance of what's going on? So I think the free action for potions I think we're going to keep.
It's a good balance with free action to roll for it, or full action to take it all.
Yeah, because I really love that, because for those that that feel like it could get you out of a bind, it's nice to know you have a superior healing potion in your bag and you pull it out really quick and you take an AP to drink it. Therefore, you get the full benefit of the potion. You max out that benefit of the potion, and suddenly you're back in the fight again. And I like how that way. I also like that because it frees up Eritreo's character, like the traditional healer, to maybe blend a little bit more AoE support or class level support on top of those emergency heals that maybe still need to go off from time to time. And I think if you have more available to you, the more risky you become, like the more risks you're willing to take to, like,
that's true, because it's like, I only have 1 5th level spell slot. Do I need to reserve this to really like heal a bunch of people, and like when I want to use a cooler 5th level spell maybe? So I it's exciting for me.
Foreign, you said you rolled a 98 on your D100.
I did.
That is called Mythic Surge. Immediately take 1 extra turn, so you get an additional AP after the one you expend. During that turn, your first spell is cast as if 1 level higher than intended, without any extra spell casting required. Its damage or healing dice are automatically maximized, and your allies within 30 feet gain resistance to 1 damage type of your choice until the start of your following turn. So it's this idea, it's almost like an overcharge effect. It's the maximum effect, and it is skewed by the spell that you're using as well. So obviously rolling very high on the wild magic table gives you these really kind of fun options of bonuses and improvements. But if you were to roll a 1 through 4, I was thinking of a different name. There's one called Arcane Meltdown. You and creatures within 10 feet take 66 force damage plus 66 thunder damage. Dex saves do apply. You can't cast spells until the end of your next turn. So it's almost like you empty your battery and you have to wait a full turn for it to recharge. Mm-hmm. So that's the worst possible outcome on the wild magic table. Now, at first you might think,
it's not incapacitated.
Well, you might think, okay, that's not too bad, until you realize that you're all gathered around each other within 10 feet and you each have like 12 hit points left. Mm-hmm. Suddenly that 1 through 4 on a wild magic table, kind of that possible risk introduces some fun tension and potentially an outcome that could change the very nature of something that might be ongoing. So I want to at least read one option that's very dangerous and one option that's very good. Somewhere in the middle, there's one that's called Haste Flicker. Up to 3 allies you choose within 30 feet gain +2 armor class and 1 extra AP until the end of their next turns. Then each is slowed. So you get this quick ability of haste, but then until the end of your next turn, you're now under the slowed effect. So it's a balance of a little bit of good versus a little bit of bad.
So luck would be a very good what's the word I'm looking for? Feat to take with this new system, because
yes, it would encourage it. It could potentially encourage.
You roll bad to cast your spell instead of having to do the percentile. That die.
And to Melody's excellent point about the calculation for both Jalbatross's and Melody's calculation of casting in general, just the use of casting in general, I think this could free up both of you to maybe explore multi-classing with a little bit more freedom, because you're not locked into that spell slot concern anymore. all you've done is just given you this limiter that once per action, once per AP, you can only smite once per AP, which benefits, I think, the fact that I'm not having to worry about you rolling 4 natural 20s in a roll and therefore generating 500 hit points of damage potentially. But the reward is you no longer have to worry about spell slots. So if you want to do something cool with Melody, because her character background is the party girl character background, maybe you want to enhance her bardic abilities more. Maybe you want to take a dip into another spell casting feature because you're no longer hindered by this idea of spell slots and the balance of spell slots as well. You can enjoy more of the available spells. And that's the other thing I really like about this is that even though Shadow Dark writes the rules of their spells specific to the casting theme of spell casting rolling, I feel like this doesn't damage any of the spell's potential that you want to use. In fact, it increases the choices that you get to make because you don't feel like you're wasting your prep time on things that may just be a complete waste of time. It may actually lend towards the role play and the kind of creativity that you would like to see within the characters as well. So table vote, what do we think? With Melody, with Alexis, I'm sorry, Tally, you go for it.
Oh, final question.
Yeah.
Is it okay if we start it after the time dilation?
Yeah, I don't see why not. We could start. Yeah, I mean, it could be. We could even include it as part of the time dilation. Now, everyone can go and do what they want to get done, develop their characters, and do their research and travel and do all the things they want to do. And then, because obviously, at some point, you want to consume Lavian's mind.
Yes,
obviously.
I don't want to be interfered with the bad roll. And also, would the DC change based on our level? Because it feels like we maybe should get better at casting spells as we kind of improve.
But that already happens. So as you
level up, your modifiers get better.
They automatically get better. Yeah.
For just fun.
See, now you're slipping in that extra
it's a
level
part
for
of
time
like
dilation.
your character growth. Like,
No,
as
wait,
you level up in Warlock,
you
level up in Warlock,
yeah,
you get better.
Kurt doesn't
spell
realize
attack.
that Karina is negotiating.
I know.
all the power in the world.
I mean, and remember, magic items can always try to be found that will increase or modify your spell DC as well. So there are those opportunities out there as well. But no, the DC factor is already built into the spell accumulation and adding spells to your spell book based on your intelligence, wisdom, charisma, or whatever your prime connection is with your spell. So that's already built in. So I can't really muck about with that.
That's fair. I was just checking.
I love it. So are we all good with the idea of getting rid of spell slots?
Yeah.
Now, I will reserve the table to decide they don't like it.
Okay.
So if after a handful of sessions, you guys decide you don't like it, then we just take it out.
Cool.
All right. Does that sound good?
Yep.
Cool.
That's fine.
Set the tone for the time dilation. Jaman Saord has taken over the rulership of Jrusar. The many houses in Jrusar have been officially affected by this. The House Loomis no longer exists. They've fallen out of favor. Most of their council members perished in the original destruction of the Chandei Quorum. House Treshy has fallen into, while they're not technically a disbanded house, they have been lessened in favor. They are no longer sitting at the council of the Chandei Quorum and therefore no longer members of the direct decisions made upon Jrusar as well. Serafina Maysoon, House Maysoon, does have some influence still in the Chandei Quorum and is attempting to figure out where exactly she fits in to the entire situation and how the family might be affected. The Ivory Syndicate is now officially a fully underground criminal organization. The Hand of Ord guards are now working hand in hand with the Wardens as a means to dissolve and devolve the corruption that has been going on between the Ivory Syndicate as well as the Wardens themselves. This is Jrusar Ord's attempt at trying to undo the criminal aspect of Jrusar. Whether or not they're successful or not, I think is going to play out around the Prancing Centaur and the very bizarre relationship between Melody and and what's his name? Kalor Blackhand. Yeah. I kind of I kind of see their relationship developing like for the longest time in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where they're clearly attracted to each other, but they hate each other's guts.
Oh, it's a Spike and Buffy situation.
I watch far too much pop culture. I apologize ahead of time. The Hubatt Corsairs never really fully recovered from the battle with the Ivory Syndicate. It is believed that with the absence of Talim Quickfoot and Dravina, and obviously with the death of Captain Thorne, who was the leader of the Hubatt Corsairs, there may be remnants of their organization out there and amongst the city streets. But as an actual organization, they seem to have ceased to exist due to the original battles and war that they had with the Ivory Syndicate. The Chandei Quorum is no longer a sitting council. This would appear that Jrusar Ord is seeking to establish a new method of ruling Jrusar. Some things that would have been established as well. My apologies. Let me pull up the proper notes for that. Nope, that's project notes. It is in project notes because I used my brain for once and put it in the right spot. Instead, in classic political fashion, it would seem that Jrusar Ord is now elevating entirely new houses. They will sit at a seat of council until open elections can be instituted within the city of Jrusar itself after the first year of the interim council getting things back under control and trying to bring some stability and organization to the city and the immediate area as well. And one of the major houses is called the Prism Collegium. This is run by the House Nahid, which is Nakhid. And her first name, she is known as the Curatrix. Her first name is Celise. She is a favorite of Jrusar Ord. This is an individual that has helped them a great deal in trying to figure out the politics and the subterfuge of the Chandei Quorum, and has been elevated to a senior council position as well. Also, another house called House Mazarat, which is called the Bridge Rights. This is a house that is responsible for the architecture and the attempt to rebuild Jrusar after all the damage that has taken place. There's House Farouk. This is the house responsible for the markets and the Fate Walk Bridge and determining all the new guilds that will come into existence, making sure that the crime and criminals of Jrusar do not effectively cause harm, as well as important distribution of water and other infrastructure throughout Jrusar, as Jrusar itself is kind of being remade and kind of being refashioned with a much more nomadic theme as well. People who are coming into existence are extended power bases from the city of Ankarel. These are people that Jamansa Ord trusts, and these are people that have either served in the Hand of Ord or maybe aided in the other activities of the Hellcatch Valley, the Ashnodor Plains, and the Rumadan Desert. These are houses that they feel they can trust. Another house is called House Kirani, which is Qirani. This is the house of the Caravan and Sky Trade Compact. This house is responsible for the Airy Spire now. Whereas houses all resolved in the Core Spire within the Chandei Quorum, the houses now are broken up into areas of different spires because those are their areas of responsibility. And then finally, the House of the Dawn Shield Compact, the House of Shemasar. They are responsible for managing all of the Wardens, and they are based out of the Lantern Spire. And this is a former commander. She goes by the name of Samara Zell. She is in charge of the Hand of Ord, and she is in charge of the Wardens. The Wardens are no longer regional to their spire, but they come under a unified edict of the entire city of Jrusar. So this will happen during your time dilation. This is what you will learn about Jrusar during your 2-month time dilation. This does not require rolls, skill checks, or anything. This is just something you inherently learn. Now, at some point during your 2-month time dilation, Jamansa Ord is going to offer a seat at the council to any one of the 5 members of the Prancing Centaur. So this would have come through a message through one of the Hand of Ord individuals who would have delivered this message during your 2-month dilation. That way you guys can determine either at the conclusion whether or not you take them up on the offer and choose to sit at the council or not. Obviously, during this 2 months, the shop is going to continue to earn. I would also say there are opportunities as well. The oil pot in the Lucent Spire is abandoned and
burned down.
It's still property and can be rebuilt. So it is still available for anyone that is interested in possibly establishing a mercantile or something within the Lucent Spire, other than just the Fate Walk Bridge. There are there are obviously other spires that have opportunities available, because now as the team has come into a little bit more wealth, I would also say, as a way of showing their appreciation, Jamansa Ord has given the Prancing Pony. Did you guys ever come? You guys came up with a group name, right?
Nope.
No.
Never came. You have not come up with a group. That's true, because it was really rough just thinking of a name for the shop, wasn't it? That was hard enough. I feel like during this time dilation, it doesn't have to happen tonight, but at some point, that group name should probably come into play. But I would say you guys have been given 200,000 gold as a group to split amongst yourselves.
How much was it? How much was it?
200,000 gold?
200,000 gold has been given to you by Jamansa Ord as a means of both thanking you for what you've done, and you get the feeling thanking you for what's expected to potentially be done as well.
Was that a jingly coins noise that you
It wasn't me.
That was my
someone
dog.
else.
That was my dog and her
Very timely.
yeah.
That was some timing.
Yeah.
That was perfect timing.
She got
I'm
up and
jealous.
shook off and it yeah.
So I'm gonna add to my 57 gold 40,000 gold.
Yep.
I'm gonna add to my
And per usual, you can organize that into any method of wealth. It can be items, it could be jewelry, it could be gems, because I want you to feel like it's portable. That way, whenever you're out doing something, you can say, I have a handful of gems on me worth 10,000 gold. That, and then That's one of the things I do enjoy about the Daggerheart system. They really mitigate the cumbersome nature of gold and make it part of the fun aspect of role play. So obviously carrying around 20 heavy iron chests of gold is both a bit ostentatious, although it would look pretty dope in the streets as you're being followed by people carrying all these chests of gold behind you. But I also want to make it fun for you to utilize it in your role play and what you'd like to do with it as well. So you're free to convert that in any methodology that you choose to. And obviously we have the money trader system within Jrusar as well. So you can always have it vaulted if you want to keep it in coin format, and therefore travel to the money trader and retrieve whatever you want from the vault and, do whatever you want with it. Time dilations tend to be very expensive. So I wanted to make sure you guys had enough gold to kind of play with and do the creative stuff that you want to do with your time dilation. So that'll get you caught up on the overall 2-month expanse of time and the rise of Jamansa Ord's power and their seat at the council, the reestablishment of new houses, and the idea that Jamansa Ord is very much focusing on the trade between the regions of the Rumadan and the Oderlin Wilds as a means to establish stability within those two regions, and obviously the reunification of the capital city. And they will declare Ank'Harel as the capital city of Marquet itself. Once again, exercising their will to eventually combine the remaining regions. Obviously bringing in the Talland Highlands, the Ashenador, the Panagrip Sands, and the Agrad Mountains, and finally kind of bringing all these regional areas back into a final unification, and therefore elevating Marquet into a power that can project itself out into the world of Exandria. They have never made their feelings mysterious about that. Jaman is a survivor of the rise of Vecna, and someone that was very much influenced by not only what Vox Machina performed to save the world, but was also influenced by the other parties that be. Bell's Hells, as well as the Mighty Nine, as well as our first season, right, where Mason was defeated, and even though he was able to destroy the Shadowfell and the Feywild, he was unable to destroy the material plane. Did season 1 ever have a group name? Did we ever have a group name?
The Fox.
Oh yeah, the Fox. Yeah,
it was the one. It was the one session I did not attend where the group name was chosen.
The Friends Upon Common Kindred Sales.
That's right.
The Friends Upon Common Kindred Sales.
Name known as the Fox, and the the sacrifice of what was your first character's name again, Alexa?
Xanth.
Xanth. The sacrifice that Xanth made to preserve the integrity of the material plane and honor her championship oath to Helm, and honoring that oath to Helm and sealing the blood well and preventing anyone from ever retrieving that particular magic item. I don't want to say too much because eventually we will have our level 20 redemption part 4, the retrieval of Xanth. And I don't want to give too much away about that particular item, but they have been very much, influenced by all these great heroic individuals that have done so much to save the world. And here we are in the post period, the direct ending of the events on the 2 moons. More importantly, probably the events on the moon of Rudius, and the effects of the apogee that would have happened in tandem with what you guys had done to defeat Mason. And therefore, we're kind of in that unique post-era where divinity is much more kind of mitigated, and we're in that now era of restoration. And Jamansa Ord seems to have embraced this theme and this idea of restoration with a great deal of kind of animus and creativity in hopes of reestablishing Marquet into its former glory since the beginning of Calamity, even pre-Divergence, before Marquet suffered the most egregious outcome of Calamity. Jamansa Ord is also a very old individual. They are a bronze dragon that is already, I believe, between the ages of 600 to 800 years old, somewhere in that variation of time. But they are not perfect. They make mistakes. And whether or not they think they're doing the right thing now is kind of up to the group to make that decision as they involve themselves in this newly idea of a reformed Jrusar. And judging by Karina's evil grin, I wonder what Karina has in store for her 2-month dilation. Also, because there is a 2-month dilation, we will say that the shop earns an additional 20,000 gold during that 2 months that you can distribute amongst everybody as well.
Well, some portion of Forn's cut is, I assume, going to.
Correct. I've already rounded that off. So a lot of that is
okay.
going to Darwin. Darwin and what did we say the name of the ogre bouncer was?
Meathead?
Meathead,
Yeah, Darwin and Meathead and Binder pretty much run the shop now. That's why I want to give you an opportunity to maybe invest your interest in other places of the city. You may even decide during your 2 months of travel that you invest time and money into another location within Marquet. So as a reminder, I'm going to drop in Discord the map of Marquet. Yes, we will be bringing our alts back out again.
The alts, not the
Yeah, not your mains from season 1. But yeah, I feel like the close of the first arc kind of brings them into tandem with your guys' journey coming up, and their storyline will take on a little bit more kind of a support role of what you guys are doing as well. The alts are always meant to kind of expose other campaign possibilities. Yeah.
I wasn't talking about like Scracked and the others. I was talking about like Giancarlo and like the one-off that we did with the other group.
Oh, you're talking about the redemption arc, the arc where we're the one where eventually you're going to try to free Xanath. That arc.
No, I'm talking about like the
middle one where we fought the Kraken.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Because
I think you brought out that's the alt arc, because you're free to run any alt that you want in the alt arc. So I think Giancarlo is part of the Scrat, Fabian, and others alt arc. The only other arc we have going is the redemption arc, where Puck is trying to free her most important friend ever, Xanath, from the outcome of her champion's oath.
I know that I'm not more important than Punch and Lunch.
We tried. Yeah, it was kind of like we have 4 different characters in this campaign. So yeah, it's like I don't know how best to refer to them. Not our level 20 from last season, not our primary alt, like our alt. Like, because I was just going to send Giancarlo home unless something untoward happens to the professor.
He has to go watch those chicks, man.
I'm dying to watch
chicks.
Professor and Giancarlo have to talk to each other.
I mean, if you want to play me, I'll fucking be.
I know you will.
It's great.
I know you will. So, who would like to start off their 2-month time dilation first? Who would like to go first?
And before we do it, can I real quick just consume the mind? I've been waiting.
Yeah, we could do that, and then
really
that will kick. Yeah, you're right. Let's do that. Did I drop the map?
It's outrageous.
Yeah,
You go first.
Yep.
No, I think
Melly's like,
go
first.
It'll affect what we want to do. We'll get information about Spike, and you'll get to see me pull out some like dipping sauce and eat a brain.
Oh.
Dipping sauce. Oh no!
Oh.
I can really get in there.
I don't know what's gross. What's more gross, dipping sauce or brain?
Is it actually? Are you actually about like? Are you going to eat the brain, or is this like a sucking, a mysterious mist out of the brain?
I mean, they don't really explain, so we have to assume
I
that this.
just assume that you have to
nothing.
take on the form of freaking mind
I feel
flayer
like Karina's
to do
free to
this.
describe however she chooses to exhibit the effect.
I feel like you have to turn into a mind flayer and properly eat the brain.
Well, just to look at the actual spell description real quick before I go a little too crazy.
It's consume mind or consume memory?
Mind.
Mind.
You consume the brain of another creature's corpse, gaining its memories and knowledge. The corpse must have a brain and can't be undead. The spell fails if the corpse has been dead, not preserved for more than 3 days. Until the spell ends, you can attempt to recall any important fact known by the creature: family, history, recent event, building layouts, passwords, details of the creature's death, and similar information. To recall a piece of information, you must make an ability check using your spellcasting modifier. The DC is equal to the corpse intelligence score. Once the caster rolls to determine whether they recall a fact, they can.
Oh, I love it. I love this spell.
And
It's
since
a necromancy spell too. That is so cool. So gross. I love it.
they say consume brain, so I think you're right. I think physically she's taking out the bone saw. She's getting in there. She's cooking.
Go mind flayer. They have the teeth
Yes.
for it. You literally just and suck it out.
I mean, a little bit forward that a good, but I don't know if Karina's ever seen a mind flayer though. So she can only shift and change into things that she's seen or is familiar with, technically, from a changeling perspective.
Oh, you're totally changing into evil then, and just checking it out.
Oh,
Start
I'm
at the eye,
also
work your
save
way
his
through.
eyes for evil. I'll put him in a little baggie.
If evil comes back,
Evil will come back. You don't know that.
you
He's
scare
my
him
good
away.
friend. So information. So does that mean that I can only ask one question, or does it mean that I have a period of time where I can kind of recall several things?
It says the spell lasts up to an hour. And I think what it's saying is to recall a piece of information, you must make an ability check using your spellcast modifier. So the DC is equal to the corpse's intelligence score. Lavian was very intelligent.
Oh,
So what that means is that you're very much challenged by this. So his intelligence score was a 17. That was his intelligence. So technically the DC for you to recall and kind of like dig memories out of him, and you can ask questions and do these recalls for up to an hour because that's how long the spell affects. But every time you try to explore a memory, do a recall, or anything like that, it's going to be a DC 17 or higher for you to successfully be able to do that. And based on the spell, yeah. But you... using your spellcasting... But it calls for an ability check using your spellcasting modifier. So what's your spellcasting modifier?
+4, unless it's attack, which is +8.
No, it's +4. But then again, what's your higher stat for your character?
Charisma.
Charisma.
Which is a plus what?
My charisma is +8.
So you basically be rolling with a +12.
Oh, okay. So that's not bad at all.
Because if it's going to force you to use your spellcasting modifier, I feel like it should be your ability check should be based on the part of your character that makes sense. And as a wicked, evil, changeling warlock, your charisma makes sense. Like it makes sense that you're using your charisma as a means to influence the recall of memory.
But not your ability check, not your saving throw, your ability check.
Yeah, your ability
Saving throw,
check.
you probably have a
Damn.
+8. But there's no way you have a +8 on your ability
Wait,
check.
ability check, ability
That's
check.
above where it
It's
says
like
charisma.
the very top row where it just has
Yeah.
like your base stat.
Oh, that's just a +4.
So you
That's
have a
rolling-
+8 to your
Pretty
roll.
good.
It'd be
Yeah.
it's still +8, which means at at a intelligence of 17, you just have to consistently roll a 9 or higher to get those memory recalls and to get those questions answered.
And maybe Eritrea will just kind of, stand within 5 feet of you.
Ability check D4. Melody's absolutely correct.
He's like, his face is green
Just
and his cheeks are puffed out. And he's like,
It sounds like a plan. If anybody has any questions they would like to tell Karina about before the process starts, and she can also...
I think it'd be great that this is something that happens within the first couple days after the last 2 sessions. This is kind of that preamble of kind of all of you setting off either on group journeys or individual journeys for your 2-month time dilation. So I think this will be like the last thing that happens, before we start the time dilation. I think it's a great way. It's good that you brought it up, because this may give people clues and ideas about what they might do with their time dilation and their journey as well. So I think it makes sense that the group is all together back at the Prancing Centaur, back up on the 2nd floor veranda where they know they have privacy. It's almost like one of those late night Ouija board. Drink a little too much of the Jrusar whiskey and Jrusar vodka. Somebody breaks out the consume memory Ouija board and the head puts the head on the board and says, "All right, let's find out what this guy knows."
Definitely ask about that changeling cabal, where the underground group of changelings, as much as we can find out from them. That was going to be part of my time dilation, was tracking some of them down too, or trying to get more information about them.
Perfect. Also, sorry.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
He's Spike's husband, so we can find out, where the Fae are.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna ask is maybe if we can find out what Spike's deal is, where he is, and if he has any weaknesses, that would be helpful.
Ooh, okay, weaknesses. I like Melody's thinking.
His weaknesses.
I don't think you really know that much about the Iron Collective yet, other than they may be just a loose organization responsible for kidnapping and abducting either those that are friendly to the Fae or those that are Fae themselves, or the abduction of non-friendly, like the Fae that are friendly to non-Fae, as well as to those that are non-Fae that they think are responsible for the catastrophe that was endured by the Feywild and the Shadowfell.
Also, anything about the real Kalian?
Sure, we don't know what happened to him.
Find that guy.
These are all like, I'm looking through the things that I'm doing.
Kill him again.
The real, see, Spike, the changelings. If he had any communication with Kremp.
Yeah.
Maybe how much he knew about Father Atrium as well, or like what he knew about Father Atrium.
Perfect. And I guess you guys can also chime in during the memory. Presumably, they can chime in during the memory.
They could all be present during the activity. It's going to be kind of gross because I imagine that Karina has kind of like removed the skull cap, right?
Yes.
And the brain is now fully preserved and exposed. And I feel like she's using it's almost like eating sushi. She's like using these chopsticks with little thin slices of bread. Yeah.
A little bit of wasabi.
She's all decadent about it.
She's absolutely salivating. Like she looks.
Oh no!
Oh, so gross.
I've seen a lot of weird shit in my life. This is up there.
This is gonna get so much weirder.
I would imagine a straw, just like a boba tea straw, like big
straw. Oh, no.
And you have to put your thumb over the end and cap it in there.
I immediately apologize to anyone that's currently eating dinner right now. I did not mean for this to happen.
Got one of the boba.
You guys, I'm hogging the brain. Does anybody want some?
Suck out the brain.
No.
And, then we figured out we're talking to RFK Jr. instead of.
Yeah, it just turns out to be a little bit of turns out to be a little bit of unagi that just kind of got left behind. So you guys gather on the veranda. You set it up in such a way that Air Trio's guidance is kind of helping Karina kind of focus in on the questions, and you watch as the spectacle of what has been set up in the middle of the veranda, and all of you are either just kind of sitting nearby or close enough to watch this. But it does have to be Karina that asks, or Karina has to ask herself these questions, because you're using the spell and you're using this means of communication as a kind of self-awareness ritual. This is, for you, this is the darkest and deepest your necromancy has ever gone. Like, this is a 4th level spell, and this is a spell that is identified purely, I believe, it is. This is a necromancy spell. This is the highest one you've ever done, and this is the most powerful necromancy spell you've ever done. This is going to both expose you to your source of power, where your spells come from, as well as maybe introduce you to things that might be linked to your power that you're not fully aware of yet. So there's a little bit of risk here at the same time. You guys watch. Yeah. So you guys watch as Karina has prepped everything. And you watch as she begins to consume the brain of the former changeling that we know to be Lavion. As the spell...
How does it taste? It's like salty.
A little stale because it's been 2 days, but otherwise delicious.
Oh, that sounds so much more gross.
This is not sushi grade brains.
Has a hint of fugu.
Why is it so smooth?
I'm not a biologist, but from what I understand, the brain is almost pure fat. So, I mean, it would probably go rather well at, like, spread upon toast point strands. So, I don't know.
We're going to open a restaurant, and the restaurant is only going to serve...
You got a big piece of Texas toast and just slather some brain on your Texas toast.
Yeah, I love the idea that you guys are all in the middle of doing this. And Darwin accidentally comes upstairs to ask a question and, like, sees you all doing this, and then very quietly backs down the stairs.
Yep. We all look at him. Karina's got the brain up in her mouth, like we're sitting in a circle, like crisscross applesauce.
Yeah, she just gives a thumbs up with the brains in her mouth.
Yeah. You guys are busy. I'll come back later. And then quickly just goes back downstairs.
I do love that. Just, y'all remember that scene from season 1 of Game of Thrones with Daenerys just eating a horse's heart? Instead, it's just the brain.
Gray matter running down her face instead of blood.
No,
I've had brain before, though. Its texture's kind of jello-y.
Extra kind of yellowy.
I had pork. It was pork brain, pig brain.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Ford, you made me think of a thing. My favorite uncle said, this is like deep Eric history, but my favorite uncle is a lawyer in Pittsburgh, and he drives everywhere for classic car shit. And it's something like he was with a friend in like Tennessee or Georgia like 30 years ago. He just got super excited because he got to go to a Piggly Wiggly and came out with like, oh, you can't get this. You can't get this in Pittsburgh. What is it? Hog brains and milk gravy. Well, yeah. It's like, yeah, John, I can see you doing that.
There is a moment that there's a moment where at first you're not sure if it works. You kind of center in on the effects of the spell, and you realize at this moment in time, you are now Lavion. You are both yourself and them. You are in between the two spaces of existence. This is that space where, for the first time, your powers within necromancy has shown you that you can be existing as if you're looking at yourself and looking at something else at the same time. And like strings on a puppet's manipulation toy, you are now manipulating the memories of Lavion. But at first, the spell overwhelms you with many years of existence. There is one particular memory that does not require you to recall, because as you bind and begin to peel away at the surface of who Lavion is, there's one particular memory that overwhelms you briefly. Now, the question is, does Karina choose to audibly express her memories, or the memories that are being seen, immediately to the group so that they can maybe help? Or does she wait till everything is done and then tries to control the narrative of the memories based on possible situations that she may not know are in front of her?
For now, she will describe everything she sees.
Okay. The first memory overwhelms you as the spell kicks into effect. It is a land that looks very familiar to you through description and lore. The land itself is made of crystal, ice. The trees are yellow, blue, purple, and pink. The trees themselves are living entities. The birds both float and swim with such elaborate plumage that you are clearly in the Feywild. Feywild from probably when it was first what it was. There is an image of panic all around you. There is a gate that is open and being guarded by what look to be Elendril. Most of the Elendril are of the season of spring. These are elves that you are familiar with because Winter was an Elendril. And although you don't know who Winter is directly, Winter's lore connected to the fall of Mason, the fall of the Shadowfell, the fall of Feywild, is a kind of common understanding of the heroes, the different heroes that were involved. Earthen and Xaneth and Puck and Winter and this crazy-ass Tabaxi that were all kind of part of this journey that saved the material plane. These Elendril are rushing people through the gateway. There is a gradual collapse of the landscape beyond, the energy being consumed, the sky fracturing. There is an image of Lavion struggling within the crowd, trying to reach the gate. He is separated from other changelings. Some of those changelings he's separated from are very young. They seem to be screaming at each other. The throng of the crowd inadvertently pushes Lavion through the gate, and you begin to experience this falling sensation as if you stepped through the gate yourself. You feel this sensation of the ground rushing up towards you, and there's this collective feeling of sand and dust all around you, surrounding you, other Fey folk, other individuals of the Fey. They all look battered and bruised, disoriented, frustrated, upset, crying. Lavion looks all around the crowd and does not find any of those faces that were racing towards him during the open gate. Your sense of yourself disconnects. You are now staring at Lavion in his full kind of physical atonement when you and the others last met with him and defeated him. There's a sense of consciousness to this image, this shadow. This is really just the collective memories and collective information of a person who is now dead. Whether or not their soul has passed on feels irrelevant and inconsequential because your necromancy is at its full height. And you hear his voice, which is his voice that all of you hear through Karina's mouth. What do you want?
Where is the real Callion?
First question, give me a charisma check if you would. You have an extra D4 on this as well.
Charisma check, and then also plus the modifier, so that's an 8 D20 plus 8 overall.
Correct.
Plus a D4.
Plus a D4, yeah.
So 11 plus 8, that's 17.
It's 19.
I'm sorry.
Miller's like, that's a 19, don't you dare. I can't stand the stress.
I gotta know where this guy is.
21.
Nice.
21. Yeah. Man, so much lore drop tonight.
Mm-hmm. Pencil ready.
Much lore drop. The hits keep coming. He is with my husband Spike and the Iron Collective. They have him preserved.
Why?
Well, as long as the subject matter remains about Callion, I'm not going to make you re-roll. It'll all be a collective activity. My husband felt that, if necessary, Callion could be useful in the future. He's alive, well kept, and, well, somewhere out in the Hellcatch. I do not know where exactly.
How were you supposed to find him and your husband after he left?
Oh, my husband was supposed to come and find me. Once Jrusar was, well, taken care of, the population put to heel, and the mercenary forces marching on King's Fall to bring the Hellcatch Valley under our control.
Have you worked with Callion before?
We did not need to. His was a mind easily bent to our will and to our subjugation.
And how did you bend his mind?
With the aid of one of my most trusted associates, of course, Regina Greencloak.
Is Regina Greencloak with Callion right now?
I don't know where she is. She has gone missing for some time. It has made me and my husband quite worried.
What were you hoping to achieve by pretending to be Callion?
Hoping. I did achieve. I ruined the council, put it at each other's throats, destroyed the very idea that Jrusar would ever attain any kind of power or loyalty within Marquet. I had attained everything I intended to, until I no longer exist on this plane of existence. I am merely a thought shadow to you.
Why did you need to create this chaos? Why are you trying to undermine Callion's power, as well as Jrusars.
Now that's a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
I know you're trying to keep Callion in the core of the question, but you kind of started off with a different question, to be honest. Why create the chaos?
Did you kill Callion? How did you kidnap Callion?
Well, Regina kidnapped him, of course. She used a mimic box to do it. Once she took possession of him, he was shipped off to the Hellcatch on one of the many ships of the Iron Collective. I know not where he is now.
How long have you been Callion?
Oh, quite a while. Well over a year now.
What have you learned as Callion?
Well, I've learned that those creatures that aren't Fae are easy to manipulate. Their minds are very linear. They only seek gold and fame. They're willing to slit each other's throats, as me and my husband have discussed many a time. And he shows you a memory of both a kind of like secret kind of exchange between Lavion and Spike, where they're talking about just the kind of grotesque absurdity that the fate of such a magical place as the Feywild was subjugated to the idea of these non-Fey kind of thoughts and decision-making process. It never occurred to these dirty and filthy humans that maybe saving the Feywild was more important than saving themselves. This idea of greed and this obsession with power and wealth, using knowledge to subjugate others through such knowledge. You get this overwhelming feeling of just a level of hate that you've never really been focused or been not focused to, but revealed to. Like this sense of hate that runs so deep, it feels almost generational.
Have you learned any of Callion's secrets and powers?
Callion had no secrets, had no powers. I developed the myth of Callion. He's not a wizard. I developed that. I developed the illusion of his power. He was another weak-willed idiot that thought the power would merely fall into his lap.
So why not just kill him? Why bother with hiding him away?
Who knows? Humans are so stupid, perhaps they'll fall for it again.
How would one find Callion now that he has been taken to the Iron Collective?
Oh, I don't know. The Iron Collective is a fleet of ships that move around so much. Good luck finding them. I have no knowledge of their location, as that was done on purpose.
Is there anything you're hiding from me about Callion?
My memories, my thoughts, and my understanding are incapable of lies. I am not alive. I'm a collection of memories that are revealing themselves to you.
Does anybody else have any questions about Callion that they would like to chime around Corina? Then we will...
I would say that conversation took about 15 minutes.
Oh, God.
So you have 45 minutes left of the spell.
She's going to ask him now about if he's ever seen Corina Prime, and if he was at all involved with keeping her and kidnapping her.
Ooh. Boy, there's a plot twist. Yeah, you better make that DC 17 check on that one.
100% me when homework happens.
That's a nat 20! Plus 8, plus...
plus a D4.
Yeah, plus 1. So that's 29 overall.
29. That definitely beats the DC of a 20, or DC of a 17. the memories become a bit chaotic, almost as if the memories are kind of moving around and jumbling and kind of recreating this shadow image of Lavion in a different way. You are standing in the Chandei Quorum tower where you and the others rescued her from. You're watching Lavion have a conversation with Karina Prime. Karina Prime is sitting looking very distraught and upset. Lavion is still in Callion's form, though, as he's speaking with Karina Prime. I'd like to understand why you think you should be allowed to let go. You know what your journey requirements are, and your agreements are what your agreements are. If Crimp were to ever to find out that you're alive, Karina, things could become far more difficult. You hear Karina Prime creepily in your Karina voice answer back, I don't want to do this anymore, Callion. I don't care what my family promised. I don't even care about the secret. I don't know the secret. Yes, but I do. And I promised your parents I would never reveal it to you. But I must warn you, to leave my side would invite catastrophe. I keep you alive because Crimp is not aware of who you are. Why does it matter what Crimp knows? I don't even know anything about this Crimp. Crimp is dangerous. A very powerful artificer that has figured out things that can aid them and to guide them towards great power. If they figure out who you are, that would conclude their journey of finding that power. You understand, Karina? She just shakes her head, kind of curls up into a ball on the chair, and just kind of continues. Sorry, Kurt, I gotta mute you. There's too much background noise.
I'm sorry.
For some reason, that age of child hits that high note no matter where they are on the earth. My kids do it too. Lavion leaves and descends the tower and then stands in a completely empty room. And then there's an astral projection. You watch as you're no longer Callion and you're now Lavion. And the astral projection is an image of Spike.
Okay.
Lavion looks over at Spike. I don't know if we can keep this secret hidden much longer. If they find out that Karina is truly an Archfey and Crimp finds out about this, things could become quite tenuous and difficult. If we're going to rebuild the material plane into a semblance of the Feywild, we need her alive, my husband. I understand your concern, but I don't fucking care. It won't matter when they're all dead, and the only thing left to rebuild our plane of existence is the Archfey that hides within her. I know, Spike, I know, but we have to be cautious. Crimp, while useful, can be a dangerous thing to contain. Don't you think? Oh, fuck him. Break his neck and his metal bots all across the land. Don't care. I don't care what he did to build our ships and to make our fleet what it is. I don't know what his plans are any more than you do. You know that, Lavion. Yes, but that doesn't mean he deserves to be ignored. Suddenly, there's a severe knock on the door. The door opens. Callion! Lavion quickly reforms back into Callion. What is it? There's been an attack on the tower. Somebody has taken Karina. And then the image, the memory kind of... And Lavion's silhouette just kind of... Its shadow form stares at you, waiting for another question.
What did Karina's parents promise you?
There were no promises truly exchanged from the parents, but I promised as Kellyon I would keep Karina protected. I believe they suspected something special about her, but they don't know the truth, that an archfey exists within her physical self, at least for now.
What does that mean?
Oh, you see, when an archfey is released from a physical being, well, it gets very messy.
What archfey is hidden inside of her?
Oh, we don't know. We just know there is one in there. Some ceremony or ritual that the Elendril did just before the Feywild collapsed into the shattered remnants of its former self.
Did the Iron Collective put Karina in the Lombroso family?
The Iron Collective is an organization dedicated to the destruction of those that destroyed the Feywild. The Lombrosa family was nothing more than a tool, a method of hiding Karina in plain sight.
What were your plans for her?
Well, to subjugate the people of Marquet as a starting point, to use it as a method of power and attainment to reestablish the magical realm, the Feywild, of course. Archfey can be given the opportunity of ascendancy, and with the absence of the gods within Exandria, the Celestial Gate are no longer a, how shall we say, a guarantee that the gods will ever return and show their favor upon Exandria ever again. There is opportunity here, of course. Opportunity to create something entirely new to establish the Feyfolk.
How did you learn that there is an archfey inside of Karina?
Well, you see, that was what forced the alliance between ourselves and Crimp. Crimp has a very interesting device. It has a way of looking into your mind in such a way that you can neither resist telling the truth, telling all your thoughts, or finding out anything secretly or magically hidden away inside the compartment of your mind or even your spirit.
What does Crimp want with Karina?
Power. Crimp wants anything that's got power associated with it. Could you imagine a mind like Crimp, who has mastered and perfected the school of augment magic? What could you do with an entity like an archfey? What if you could control it, tear apart its mind, choose it or make it do things whether it wants to do them or not? What could you do with a creature that can create an entire plane of existence, or even potentially ascend to the seat of godhood, absent the competitive idea of the gods themselves?
Is there a way to remove the archfey from Karina safely?
I don't know. We haven't made it that far yet. It doesn't look like I'm going to.
Do you know where Karina is right now?
We suspect she is being hidden away somewhere in the Hellcatch, and we have many spies looking for her. Some that have been put in place for a very long time. As the memory unfolds around you of Lavion talking to a very familiar satyr, one that you know to have recently married Melody's sister. And then the memory kind of curls back into itself. There's almost a malicious smile on the shadow of Lavion. Like, you know this is not his living self, but there's this strange kind of creepy resonance from his memories. Like, he was a creep in life, and he feels like a creep in the shadowy death as well.
Is the implication, is the clear implication that Arya's husband is an actual spy, or is it like he's
incapable of lying? This is memory. This is not speak with dead. This is revealing memories. So the implication is that he's got someone positioned within the very heart of the sanctuary that maybe they intended to activate and not been able to. So I think Melody would definitely pick up on that.
Okay.
Have you ever put a changeling to replace Karina?
This will be the half-hour mark on this final portion of the questioning. So he'll answer. His shadow memories, or the memories, will collate around you and answer. This is such a major backstory arc. I hate it when you do this to me. There is a memory of two changelings offering up a very young child to Lavion in his changeling form. The two changelings look... The problem with changelings is they have very passive features. They don't have features that are necessarily designed to identify them to other changelings or other kind of resonance of identity. But it's the eyes that always give them away. Their eyes are always unique to the individual of the changeling. The eyes on the two adults look a lot like you, Karina. You get the distinct feeling that your true parents are giving you over to Lavion. Both parents smile and look at Lavion. We will do whatever is required of the cause. We feel that she will be a perfect addition to your organization. Lavion then looks at the two parents. We shall see. We will train her. We will put her through the normal routine of expectation, and we'll see how she does. And then we will go from there. And then the memory just folds in on itself. No other connection to it. No other reveal. Almost as if something was completely wiped out. Like a strand of memory was purposely pulled out of Lavion's own recollection. You have a half hour left on the spell.
Okay, I'll ask one final small question about Karina and I'll move on.
Okay.
Why did you replace her with a changeling?
No memory, no recall, no answer. Get the feeling that it's tied to the same memory that was removed.
How can I track down Spike?
Ooh, new roll. Give me a DC 17 or higher charisma check, if you would, please.
Okay, 7 plus 8.
15.
Let's see if that D4 plus 1.
It's a 16.
Ooh.
Can I get a bardic?
Yeah, absolutely. You can do a bardic inspiration.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's an extra D6, so that's
Be like,
automatically a 1 on a D6. So yeah, I love it.
Thank you.
D6.
That's a plus 1.
Yeah.
Man, we really got there.
Brutal.
The shadowy memory form of Lavion kind of squints their eyes at you. The Iron Collective is a fleet that randomly moves throughout the Hellcatch. However, I do know for a fact that during the high summer season, they must collect near the edges of the city of Bassaris to make repairs and preparation for the next season of hunting.
Are there any passwords or undercover individuals that would help us locate members of the Iron Collective in the city?
Well, of course, but we're a decentralized cabal, as they say. The only knowledge I have is what's given to me by my husband. There are other people operating within the city, but I do not know who they are. We designed it that way on purpose.
What is Spike's greatest weakness?
His hubris. He thinks he is immortal, unbeatable. I mean, he's very powerful. He kills people by the dozen and takes what he wants. He is overconfident. And I think that's always been his weakness. His assurances are that he could never be defeated and he could never be undone. I think he's always felt the biggest weakness is my exploitation. If someone were to ever capture me or hold me hostage, that could become a weakness to him as well.
Interesting. How would that become a weakness for him?
He would do whatever it takes to free me. He would burn a city to the ground, he would slaughter people by the millions, and he would burn it all simply to have me back.
Very sweet. How would you identify yourself to him so he knows for sure that it's you in a world full of changelings?
I have a method of sending him a message if it's important. I go by the name of Vale. If he knows that he's getting a message from Vale, and that I wait 10 seconds before the question that I ask is, how is the weather? Then he knows it's me. If anybody tries to send a message to him trying to pretend to be me, and they do not know those collection of words, then they will not be able to speak with him.
And how do you send that message?
Through a spell, of course. You are quite the daft arcane person.
Thank you.
Spells are spells.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Please continue.
But there's a problem. Every season, we change the code word. So after this winter, he would expect me to change the code word yet again. And when that conversation doesn't happen, or when it does happen, well, we meet in person in the outskirts of Bassaris on one of the Iron Collective ships. The last time we met in a little area called the Dead Man's Crater. I have no idea beyond that.
What is your favorite memory of your husband, Spike?
Our commitment to each other that no matter what happens, the undoing of the material plane will remain our priority.
And how do you plan?
And of course, our commitment to our children.
Interesting. How do you plan to undo the material? Well, I guess that's a different question. I'll stay on Spike. How long has Spike been on our plane?
Ever since the Feywild collapsed, of course, 10 years ago.
Who was he before the Feywild collapsed?
He was a person that once lived amongst the people of the... would he know this? Yeah, he would know this because they've been married long enough they would have this. He once lived amongst the Bright Queen's people. served in her forces, did things for her that others found difficult to do. He even served at the moment of collapse, was on one of the many airships that struck against the creature known as Mason.
Huh. Is he still in the service of the Bright Queen?
Of course not. She is a traitor. She will come to her end, as all that support the humans will come to their end.
And how do you plan on bringing this end?
Oh, that's already been put in place. She'll be assassinated by a covert organization that sits at the very heel of her throne room. I don't know their names. I don't know when it's going to happen, but Spike assured me it will happen. I do know it was meant to happen after the successful destruction of Jrusars, Chandei Quorum, and the takeover of Jrusar. Since that hasn't happened, I don't know any more than that.
And what are some of other Spike's big plans?
I have no idea. Our focus is the destruction of the material plane. If he has his own plans, I'm sure they're his own.
What could we do that would bring Spike the most pain?
There's an image of a memory that unfolds around you. You are now in Lavion's form, and you're sitting on a desert plateau of rock, stone, cactus, and the kind of bare bones kind of foliage that exists in such a harsh environment. Spike is sitting on a large rock, kind of lifting small children up in the air. And they're Fey children. Some are satyrs, some are fauns, others are the many different elven or sylvan styles of Fey. Almost as if they're adopted somehow. You're not sure because the memory doesn't really reveal that. The memory then reveals as you look down into this massive crater. The crater is filled with hundreds of airships. Just hundreds of them. Just kind of all out. And you could see that they're being scaffolded and they're being built. And you could see these strange automatons that are kind of part of the process. One of them looks very familiar to you. You've seen that automaton before. It was in Crimp's warehouse. You could see that the scaffolding people and automatons are working at a feverish pace as this fleet is being constructed. This feels like an old memory, maybe from during the first year of time when the Feywild was destroyed. There's an overwhelming memory and feeling that if all this is undone, or that his children or Lavion are taken prisoner or captive, this would bring him great pain.
Do I get a sense of where that crater is?
Lavion's memory revealed it as Dead Man's Crater. It is somewhere on the outskirts within maybe 20, 30 miles of Bassaris itself.
Does anybody else have any questions about Spikes that they would like to kind of chime in around me?
All right. Spell's got 15 minutes left on it.
Okay, so I will move on. I think I'll see if I can get more information about how we can track down the Iron Collective and destroy it from the inside. I think that is probably our priority. It's either that or Cramped. Which do you think is...
Them, Iron Collective, or the Cabal?
The Cabal.
The Cabal of the Changelings.
Oh.
Yeah. I guess we'll do the Cabal of Changelings, or okay. I'll try and go a little faster on these and kind of get in a little bit more.
Well, it's all about the quantity of information that you learn. It's not really like
how fast
Yeah, this is all about quantitative versus you being able to speak like the micro machine, commercial guy.
Core memory right there.
Yeah.
Is the
Disturbing memory right there.
I remember he was on like Oprah and all kinds of stuff. The guy that talks so fast.
He was about as famous as the Wendy's Where's the Beef grandma. Yeah, agreed. So what we could do, if you want to focus as much memory recall on the idea of locating the cabal, how to weaken it, and how to locate it, what is the intent, go ahead and give me a final charisma check.
Charisma check, just like
You've been rolling d20, your charisma modifier, your spellcasting modifier, and then a d4.
Okay, so that's a 6 plus 8.
14 plus a d4
plus 3.
Woo!
17 meets it, beats it. That is the DC. Beads of sweat. Lavion's memory recall of all of this will give you 4 key pieces of information. 1, the Cabal has fully infiltrated the city of King's Fall. That is where they're operating out of. That is the capital city of the Hellcatch. They have replaced the entire leadership of King's Fall. This is where their main operations are taking the most fruit, having the most success. There's an image of the leader of King's Fall being a member. There's an image of the guards of King's Fall being a member. You get the feeling that the reason why they're able to move from within the Odoran Wilds and the Hellcatch is because they've completely overwhelmed everything that would normally keep the border regions safe, and are now fully in control of the border regions between the Odoran Wilds and the Hellcatch. Unfortunately, you learn once again that everything is decentralized. So although you're shared the memories of those affected by their efforts, you gain no name, no knowledge, no understanding of headquarters, no understanding of the internal workings of the Cabal, because once again, it's disassociated. They operate in small, clandestine organizations, therefore they don't know about each other. They simply do what they're expected to do. So there's no real revelation on that aspect of it. So we'll say that concludes the 15 minutes.
Before we finally end, can I just ask him real quick where he would like for me to bury his what remains of his body?
You get an image of that same mesa, and you get the feeling that his remains, he would like them to be dealt with there. Is the vibe you get, as like at the last moment as the spell ends, you kind of pick up that memory that is his favorite place.
Dead man's crater.
Kind of bringing you back and out of the spell effect. It requires the consumption of the entire brain, obviously, for the spell to work. There's just now the empty skull in front of you.
I burp.
Brain breath.
You know, some people make mugs out of those.
I guess I'll show some decency towards the very end of this and try and bury him where he wanted to be buried. Then I kind of put him in the remaining of the skull in my little bag.
Okay. So with that, learning quite a bit, who would like to start their 2-month time dilation first? Who would like to go over that?
I've got mine pretty spelled out. Just clarify.
I know Korea spent quite a bit of time on a lot of lore dropping. I think it was a great opportunity to bridge from the first arc and into decisions to be made into the second arc. So obviously when I get the transcript of this video, I'll share a much more detailed summary in the Discord, so you guys can reaffirm your notes and pick out the pieces that you feel might be more important to you.
Yep.
So what does Forn do with his 2 months?
First, after Kalia, after this whole meeting together, Forn did. I DM'd you last week. Forn did message the Bright Queen that we had killed Le'Veon.
That's right. Yeah.
So I would let her know again some of the information we found out, that there's an assassin in her midst, but also that I'm going to work for with Jamon here in Jrusar as well now. Not splitting allegiances, but kind of combined, because the Bright Queen did have me track down Jamon, did want me to do that as well. So
Correct.
They're in league with each other.
Okay.
Forn knows that. So Forn is going to so I will
and there is a teleportation tower at your disposal, which would allow you to travel to any of the major capital cities of Exandria if you feel the need to expand your search for any reason as well.
Well, I'm going to ask, first, so reaching out to Bright Queen, I would also ask for her support. And if I need to reach out to Bragsworth / Artanian as well, I would reach out to both of them, that I would like to try and dress up the speakeasy with that same kind of pocket dimension magic.
Okay. Yeah.
That way, if we were to get raided in the future, if someone knew the password to get in, that they're not going to find anything because it's a pocket.
I love it. I would say Artagnan or Bragsworth would love the idea. He's the trickster. He loves fucking with people. I will say during that 2-month time period, he establishes a pocket fae connection that's the same one that's connected to his gilded casino as well.
And then I will take over the place of the oil pot, what formerly was the oil pot. Okay. And build and put up like just a small building. The intention of, I'm going to use the basement. We can use the basement of it because it had that big extensive basement with all that stuff.
Yep.
The top though is going to be just a headquarters for my bounty hunter stuff.
Okay. Love
in
it.
The Lucent Spire?
Yeah.
A bounty hunter?
But the intention is working for Jamon Sword. They're kind of now over-ish Jrusar. And she's going to need someone that can dig out information or some kind of a spy network kind of thing. And so
they will, yeah.
Bounty hunter spy network is moving together there. So I'm picking up information where I can.
So for you to establish your own space at where the oil pot used to be, are you building some kind of front there to?
Yeah, the upper floor. It's just a little 1-story building, and that's just kind of a receiving place for bounty hunter stuff.
But I mean, you got to kind of put on some kind of front, because just this random building in the middle of the most desirable area of all the spires is going to look pretty suspicious.
Yeah, so I'll front it as like an upscale pawn shop. So where the nice fancy items get exchanged there.
The Bright Queen would give you the advice of maybe turning it into a reliquary shop, where wealthy individuals come to exchange and buy and trade in very unique and expensive items. This would also expose you to the new nobility that will be taking over in Jrusar.
And I would reach out to Fabian for his tiefling buddy, if they want to be the face of the shop.
Soot? You think about bringing Soot back into this?
Just to face the shop. They can take this my shop, so they can take part of the profits there.
Give me a persuasion check on that, because Soot's kind of a wild card.
Okay. If not, Fabian, advice from Fabian on who to bring in.
Fair enough.
That was an 18 plus persuasion plus 6, 24.
Fabian agrees. Their collusion will cost you 1,000 gold a month. So you're already out the 2,000 gold for the 2 months of dilation. The creation of the structure and rebuilding everything will cost you 80,000 gold to do that as well. The Lucent Spire is very expensive. However, the Bright Queen will send you a contingent of 4 glass blades, which are some personal guards that she gets from a very influential elven and dwarvish monarchy in Wildmont, so that they're at your disposal. She will also guarantee you a stipend of 500 gold a month for you to supplement however you choose to earn within the confines of your now bounty hunter network.
Okay. And was there any more reward for succeeding on finding Jamansa Ord? Because that was what I was immediately tasked with.
Yeah, your reward is to continue working in her service. Pay off your debt for the failure of allowing the Feywild to be destroyed, of course.
She sent me 25,000 gold the last time. That's why I was there.
That's an investment, not a reward.
Sure. Okay. All right. So for the 80K...
I mean, your relationship with the Blight Crane is one of duty, not necessarily one of familiarity and friendship.
It started with, you know, I felt that I felt obligated to help her for saving me from that. Yeah.
She agrees. You should feel obligated. She tends to treat a lot of the survivors of the fleet of ships that were involved in the face-off with Mason as pawns and resources that she can kind of exhibit. Oh my God, look at that cat just staring at you, Alexa. Just like
handsome man.
You know, it's like
he is loving Box World. That is
he is. He's the happiest he's ever been.
Oh,
so much to climb, so much to quiet, so much to get into. Yeah, very true. So is that the majority of what you wanted to get done for?
I'm gonna trying to get myself in service of Jamansa Ord. Like, not I don't want to be on the council, but I'm intentionally putting myself offering into her service into their service the way I did with the Bright Queen.
Okay. That's a familiar effort to you. So we'll say it's a mix of deception and persuasion. So give me a deception roll for starters.
11 plus 6 is 17.
Now give me persuasion.
15 plus 6 is 21.
So yeah, we'll say you successfully managed to become somewhat of advisor to the council. Not necessarily a seat, but from time to time, you've wormed your way into Jamansa Ord's presence.
I'm trying to be kind of like the guy. Oh man, I can't remember his name now. Like the spy guy from Vox Machina when they went back to.
Oh, you're thinking of the hot elf.
Start with an S. The guy's name started with an S.
Yeah, it's the hot elf, right? I
thought it was a halfling, but they found him when they went to chase down Silas and Delilah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then, he was a spy guy. He was there to drop off information or get information or a next task to go out and complete.
Gotcha.
I was viewing you as more of like a worm tongue type figure.
Well, I'm not trying to guide anybody.
It just seems more Ford's vibe, though.
No, I'm not here looking for information. Yes, my lord. That's definitely this one here in the corner.
The other corner, that'd be Karina. Yeah.
I was like, Melody.
No, your camera's reverse mirrored, so
what? There you go.
It's not on mine though. That's weird. Yeah. On mine, it's not reverse mirrored. So that's confusing. So I'm always pointing the right direction because I always point the wrong direction first, and then I correct it. So Now I know. Okay. And the last bit of all I want to do is to work on my guns. to work on my guns. So
Okay.
and I was thinking the way to do it was for balance purposes, right? The pistol, I don't use that very often because I've got the rifle, but I'm thinking if I want to up the damage on the rifle, that I eliminate the short range effect of it. Like it's just can't be used up close.
Okay.
And then
Yeah, I like
if
that.
I modify the pistol, it's got a limited range, but like a limited cast of like an extra attack.
My God, you guys are chatty in the private chat.
Yeah.
I'm like, look at that. There's like 34 messages. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I rarely get a chance to read those.
So like, so the pistol one, trying to like, I would cut the range on it, but give it like a once or how many per short rest or per long rest extra attack bonus, and then the long gun get up to the 2d12 damage, but eliminate under 30 feet or under 20 feet.
Yeah, I'll let you configure it. I'll say it's going to cost you about 6,000 gold to make all that happen.
Okay.
And I'll let you configure it the way that you feel makes sense for Foreign to interpret that effort. But that'll definitely kind of consume the last of your 2-month cycle of time. Warming your way into Jamansa Ord, building and constructing the network and building the facade of the place.
Yeah.
We're also going to give you...
Go
ahead.
I would say the intention of that shop is the basement is where like I'm gonna try and collect all my spies information and stuff like that.
So we'll say that you get 2 bonuses whenever anyone does anything in the shop. You have advantage on investigation checks because of the shop itself. And anytime anyone takes a short rest in your shop, it's the equivalent of a long rest.
Oh.
You want to make that like once per time, or we can go there every time we need a
once.
rest.
Once per short rest.
I mean, yeah. Otherwise, why wouldn't we just go back to the shop, take a short rest, go back out?
I would say once per day. It would make
Okay.
sense. Yeah, once per day. All right, who's next?
The name of the reliquary shop, by the way.
Yeah,
because I went super nerd with it. Is Faerenia.
What is it called?
Faerenia. I'll write
Faerenia.
it. Yeah, the Renia is what Noldorin for wander.
Yeah.
So it's literally Fey wander.
Okay. So who gets to go next?
I can go. So I'm gonna ask for Karina's parents to kind of take over for like the offer that Jamansa Org gave us to be senators.
Okay.
So they will kind of get that increased Lombroso family status, but also kind of be able to report to me from the inside if anything is going on.
Okay.
And the information, so what season is it now?
Technically, you're at the end of summer and moving into fall. So by the time the 2-month dilation is over, you'll be well into fall at that point, with the edges of the winter season on the horizon.
So by then, both... and what time again were the ships of the Iron Collective?
Midwinter. They're expected to be at Dead Man's Crater. Late winter, like usually they're there at the beginning of each new season. So sometime during the end of winter, they would be there to be refitted for another year of hunting.
And the password is going to change by the end of...
Correct.
Summer.
Yeah, so I only have during the time dilation to use that password.
Correct.
So I'm going to start going to does it feel like this is a good time for me to try and infiltrate the cabal of changelings by pretending to be Regina Greencloak, or should I focus on connecting with Corina and figuring out how I can help her? I guess it's not necessary.
I think
That's
you're
a you
2 months-
question.
That's a you. Yeah, that's a you question. I mean, obviously, the table can help you determine, what you're trying to get out of it. But that would definitely consume your 2 months because you'd have to travel, find them, infiltrate them, and then you're going to learn a bunch of information about them, potentially.
And I guess if I do connect with Spike, I can pretend like maybe his husband is in a jail and he can only contact him real quick before he's taken to another jail or something. And so this way we create the hope that he's still alive, and then we can try and use that to weaken him later on.
Or with what you've learned, you could find out that King's Fall has been burnt to the ground.
Yeah.
Because you've already received those memory recalls about his worst fear and his weakness connected to the idea of him being imprisoned. Plus, you get the feeling that Spike is familiar with the Changeling Cabal. He knows it exists. He's aware of their goals because they're in connection with him and Lavion's goals. So that will open up more possible suspicion at the same time.
So I will try to use this time to infiltrate the Changeling Cabal to learn more about their plans relating to the Fae and relating to reinstating the Fae, in hopes that it will kind of lead me to where Corina is in all of this.
Ooh, I love it. Okay. That will consume your 2 months because that's a lot of effort, a lot of travel, and a lot to get that done. But I'm going to say you succeed no matter what, and then you're going to learn a whole bunch of new information related to that effort and that focus.
Do I have any allies that I can just send to Corina that can be extra security for her? I guess she already has our Desdemona, the maid.
True. Yeah.
And we do have the Book of Shadows that we can communicate with daily. So
correct.
Can I just say that I ask her a little bit about her connection to the Fae and if she remembers anything?
Yeah, that's an easy answer. She has none, and she has no memory of it whatsoever. That's not true, but she may not know either. You get the feeling that whatever Lavion did to extract his own memory, he might have done to Corina as well.
I will tell her a little bit about what I know, as far as these are the individuals that are after you. These are the spies that we know are in your vicinity right now. These are some precautions that you can take to...
The real question is, do you spill the beans about Melody's sister's husband?
I'm going to tell her to stay away from the Fae for now, without saying who, and I'll leave it to Melody to deal with her in-law, her nefarious in-law.
Fair enough.
I guess that's all I can do. And just I'll try and have her say, try to think a little bit about your connection with the Fae, maybe meditate on it a little bit and tell me if anything comes up.
Fair enough. We'll say the immediate outcome from that is that she'll confide with Puck in regards to some of that, and Puck will find her a new location to hide so that she is no longer hiding with the sanctuary of the Fae and those that support the Fae. Puck's Rockhaven community moves all across the Rumadan desert and moves on the regular as well. So as far as you know, Corina Prime is now an even more safer location in the sense they're not even sharing, Puck's not even sharing the information with Corina Prime as to the name and location to keep her safe.
Good. And then finally, as the time kind of comes to an end right before the password would expire, I'm going to contact Spike.
Okay.
And I'm going to pretend to be his husband using the code. And I'm going to tell him Anybody wants to chime in with any advice? I should.
Ford's not there. He's gone.
Um. Uh. I am sorry I could not contact you. I was taken to another plane. They're moving me now again, but I will try to reach out to you the moment, like the next opportunity that I have.
Well, give me deception with advantage. And I've lowered the DC, so we'll see how this goes.
22.
I put the DC at a 20, so that's pretty good.
That's the word.
Wow, that was lowered. The original DC was like a 25. Glad to see you're still alive. We're going to be changing location soon. See you at the Dead Man's Crater. Bye, my love. And then final words.
Okay, so I think that's all I can accomplish in that amount of time.
So when you're in Bassaris to try to dig up, or sorry, not Bassaris, but when you're in King's Fall, let me find my notes on King's Fall. So there's a couple things you figure out while you're in King's Fall. We'll say anytime that you do, you also become knowledgeable in Bassaris, because one of the things you discover is that Bassaris is also a very crime-ridden institution, and is heavily influenced by the crime syndicates. And it would seem that the Cabal have at least one or two individuals placed there. But once again, because they're decentralized, you don't know which or what. You're not entirely sure which organization could possibly be part of it. There is the crawler gangs. And the crawler gangs are made up of numerous kind of factions and syndications. You get the feeling that they probably have done one of those. There's also, you learn about the Paragon's Call, which is the headquarters of the Seat of Disdain, which includes a leader known as Olathon Thule. He could possibly be a member of the Changeling Cabal as well. However, King's Fall is a city that is ruled that is one of the few monarchies still remaining in Marquet. The monarchy, while is intended to be always the primary ruler making decisions, there are council seats that come in from the different areas. Bassaris, Rajarma, and Nadagar and Lumpur. These are all the cities, towns of the region itself of the Hellcatch. So there's still kind of a tenuous connection to the idea that there's a bit of a council that will kind of admonish and guide the ruler as well. The ruler is a individual that goes by the name of Zareen Kada. He's known as the Carmine Steward, the ruler of the city. You get the feeling that more than likely he's probably a changeling, and that changeling is a member of the Cabal because that was revealed in the memories.
Nice.
Something else that you begin to realize is that what some abilities that you've earned. Whenever you are in King's Fall, you will always gain advantage on survival. You will always gain advantage on investigation because you've become very familiar with King's Fall. You understand its region, its location, the different wards that make up the city itself. You've become familiar with it over your 2-month time period. You've also made at least I would say you made at least one contact there through a connection with Kaleem, who is associated with the Wild Mother Temple. There's a small Wild Mother Temple that's out there, and that has become a bit of a sanctuary or haven. So whenever you or an ally ever take a short rest in that temple, once per day, you gain the ability of a long rest.
Nice. And in asking people about their connection to the Fae, did I get a sense that they had any interest in a particular entity or individual that they were loyal to that might kind of be connected to the Archfey?
Is that going back to Karina's arc of an Archfey being trapped in her, or?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole new line of questioning, and that sends you into areas of King's Fall. So you're trying to learn that through King's Fall, or?
I guess I'm trying to see what is their plan for reinstating Fae, and if there is any.
I will say one thing you learn about being in King's Fall, whether it's on purpose, you're not sure why, but the Fae are not welcome in King's Fall. There are no Fae creatures or Fae individuals in King's Fall whatsoever. That's one thing that sticks out. You don't know if that's done on purpose as part of the plot of the Changelings. And most Sylvans don't travel to King's Fall either. It's mostly a place of humans, dwarves, orcs, goblins, hobgoblins, halflings. There's no real sense that anyone of Fey heritage comes to the city.
And then just pretending to be Regina Greencloak and talking to other changelings, posing as part of their group. Do I get a sense of any specific Fey loyalties or specific Fey?
You don't even exchange names. You eventually learn that there's this random operative kind of group of 4 changelings. You're the 5th of the 4. There's inquiries as to why you've been gone so long and why you weren't responding to some of the messages. But with that deception roll, you kind of just roll with it and roll through it. So it's more about it creates familiarity with the city. You never exchange names, and you take on so many different personas that by the end of your time there, you're not even really sure who you are by the time you head back towards Jrusar to learn everything that you've learned.
Makes sense.
So that'll finish Karina. So Karina and Forn are both done. Who'd like to go next?
I can go next.
Okay, go for it.
So it sounds like first priority is just crack Tom like an egg and figure out what's going on. So I'd have to be able to go and find Tom and then maybe take you guys with me and throw, Zone of Truth and a charm person and just whatever I've got to get him to tell me what he knows.
Big powerful gun now too.
Yeah. Yeah, bring the gun.
So you're attempting to locate your sister within the Fae sanctuary that's being used to protect those that support the Fae and those that are Fae themselves. Mm-hmm. Okay. And who's all traveling with you with this effort? Because Karina's spending her whole 2 months in King's Fall at this point. Forn would have some time available as he's not technically traveling anywhere. He's just kind of building up his location. I leave it up to Eritreo and Professor to kind of determine if they're going to travel with you, because it will require time to travel out to the Hellcatch, find them in the Hellcatch somewhere, and eventually have the conversation with your sister and her husband.
I got my own travels to do, unfortunately.
I think Professor's free though, and again, I can hop along.
Because I would say it's going to consume at least a month of your time to do this.
A month? Isn't the Fae Sanctuary like a pocket dimension?
Well, there's the dimension that Artagnan uses to get people to immediate safety, but then he's got an arrangement with Puck that people get transferred to Rockhaven, and then Rockhaven wanders the Hellcatch and the Rumadon Desert, and safely hides people in different sanctuaries.
So
it could also be just a simple conversation through sending as well.
No, I mean, I don't have sending, but I want to grill this guy in person.
Yeah. I mean, oh my God, Foreign, you and those dice are going to get thrown out the window. I would say that you could easily get Jamon Sword's help with the sending aspect of it. So to save you the time, you could potentially recall your sister and her husband to Bragsworth's casino, and you could have the conversation in the Fey Pocket dimension that is used to protect the casino, if you'd like.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Because, our tagging would definitely want to listen in on this. Does anyone want to join Melody for this little event? Karina would be the only one not available currently. Eritrea, if you're planning to travel, we can leave you outside this event as well if you need to.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to be planning to travel.
Okay.
So, I am not planning to travel, but I am going to spend a significant amount of time, in some mage's shop, just messaging Giancarlo, just trying to get him to, figuring out what's going on. No, you need to get back home. You might trust your sous chef with our children, and I don't.
So I would say Professor Jalbatros would be available, and Foreign, I think he'd probably be available too, since you're in the city.
Well,
so
and
the
it's
three of you,
following up with a face.
So in just some random aspect, the three of you end up at the Gilded Casino or the Gilded Hall, and of course, as always, stepping into the Magic Fey Pocket, and before long, you look over at one of the tables. You can see your sister and her husband sitting at a table. She smiles when she sees you come in, jumps up to her feet, comes running at you, picks you up, and the two of you embrace, and that long hug of two siblings that haven't seen each other for a long time.
I'm gonna give her a big hug and just be like, I am so mad at you.
Why?
Married,
what did I do?
Didn't receive a save the date, didn't receive an invite. You could have done it in the pocket dimension. I could have gotten here.
Yeah.
Were mom and dad there?
Yeah. You were busy. I didn't feel like it was the right time to have you. And you look down, and she's got a bit of a bump forming on her stomach.
This is insane. This is absolutely insane. I need to know everything right away.
So she tells you all about the urgency beyond the sanctuary, and she tells you about this amazing person called Puck and this amazing journey of being on a sauropod that wanders around. Story about a weird druid and elf and someone else who hitched a ride to go look for something called the Bastion. This amazing story of how her and Thomas fell in love during all this activity, helping people. And that's when you begin to realize that now Thomas is aware of all the sanctuaries that she's been to.
Mm-hmm.
He now knows where all those sanctuaries are. She also explains that she's, 12 weeks pregnant, just a couple months along. And that obviously that happened before that they got married. And maybe potentially influence it as well. What is your sister's name again?
Aria.
That's right, Aria.
After I've had a little chance to chat with her, I assume that Foreign and Jalbatros are with me, and I'll walk to the table, and I'm gonna give Thomas a big hug, and I'm gonna cast Charm Person.
Nice. That's a wisdom save, right?
It's a wisdom save. Wisdom save was 16.
Oh, that's not even going to come close, and he has advantage. So,
love that.
I would say I've got Charm Person as well. So if you needed to back up,
Fantastic.
I mean, I could bless you on that. So, but other than that, I don't think I can really help you out with that.
Well, so you said he failed, right? Or
Yeah,
did
he failed. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And I'm just gonna start
Now,
asking him.
is your sister around for this, or is she? Are
Yeah.
you like?
I
She'll
think
be
she's
around
sitting
for
right
it?
there.
Okay.
She should
all right.
hear this.
Okay.
And I'm gonna just start questioning him. Be like, "Hey, what do you know about Lavion? I heard you guys were friends."
Oh yeah, oh yeah, Lavion. Yeah, we've worked together before. He currently has me collecting secret information about the Feywild and the Fey creatures that are in the material plane. And you just watch as your sister's face just melts, and Thomas has this weird kind of look on his face, like, I don't really know why I said that. I feel like I was supposed to say it, but I don't completely believe that I said it. And he looks very nervously over at Ariana, and then back at you but as he looks at nervously at Ariana, he looks at you, and he just gets that dopey grin on his face, like, oh yeah, my best friend's asking me questions. I'm sorry, I forgot.
Yeah. Your wife's sister. No big deal. Why are you collecting information about the Feywild? What's the plan?
To allow the Iron Collective and a Minotaur known as Spike to, well, visit each location and deal with them accordingly.
And, so they would like go and kidnap and kill Faye, right?
I don't know what they do with them. I'm just tasked with helping them. Yeah.
Do you not care what they do with them?
I believe in what they're doing, punishing those that destroyed our land and turning this place into our own place to live as we see fit. Why am I? Oh, that's right, because you're my best friend.
Yeah, because we're super close.
At this point, Ariana is weeping. She is.
Oh no.
Aria, come here. And I'm gonna like shuffle her away.
Okay.
I'm just gonna keep, during the time that I have, I'm gonna keep questioning him and try and get all the information that he has about the Iron Collective's objectives and movements, and what I guess the main thing is like what he has told them so far.
Right. Let me check something on Charm Person real quick. Damn, it lasts for an hour.
Yeah.
Damn, spill all the Riz, spill all the tea. He's actually not said anything to anyone yet. He is expected to eventually sneak away and make his way to Dead Man's Crater at the end of winter to report everything directly to Spike. And therefore, Spike would have a whole new list of places to hunt for the upcoming year.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah, both opportunity and a bit of darkness at the same time always is a little bit rough.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there are any other questions I need to ask him.
Can you ask him maybe how to get to Dead Man's Crater? We still.
You cut
Korea's
out.
not there.
I'll ask him. How do you get to Dead Man's Crater?
Damn crow in the wind. It lies just northeast of Bassaris. It's hidden amongst some old blasted mesa ranges. Dead Man's Crater lives in kind of a space called the Salty Mire. But Spike and Lavian told me to be very careful. There's a contingent of stone giants that keep it safe.
Mm.
Evidently, they are in on the plan.
Do you love my sister, or has this just been a ruse the whole time?
I didn't know she was. I absolutely love your sister. I'm so glad that she is your sister.
Can I insight check him?
He can't lie to you. He's charming.
Well, I mean,
You're his best friend.
All right. Okay.
I mean, so he's believable that he loves his sister, but he also expresses that he's got a love for the cause.
Yeah.
And he expresses that your sister is collateral damage.
I'm going to whack him on the back of the head with my sword really hard.
You feel Artagnan grab your wrist? I would more than love to take care of this problem for you. Do you allow me to, dear?
What are you going to do?
I have many creative ideas. I think that for now, we shall keep him out of your sister's presence. There's a particular fey pocket that I keep a particular creature that likes to play with such things. And maybe if you learn new information, we can revisit him and tap him for even more opportunity and possibility. But I can guarantee you, he will never set foot in this casino again. He will never be in your sister's presence again. Is that agreeable?
That works for me.
He kind of takes the charmed Thomas and stands him up. Goes and you could hear him talking to him just as like this portal opens up. You could hear Artagnan. Now, dear Thomas, this particular dragon is rather notorious for playing with his food. So, not to worry. I will teach you tricks to stay alive. And then they just disappear through the portal. The portal
Ice
closes.
cold. Ice cold.
Look, man, he messed with my sister.
I love
He's
it.
toast.
He did
What else
love her,
do you
though.
think Melody would be accomplishing?
Not enough.
Very-
Well, now my sister's a single mother, so I think I'm helping my sister through her pregnancy.
Okay. You're going to keep her in Jrusar for a while?
Yeah, because it seems a little safer in Jrusar now. I think she could, if she wants to, she could stay with us.
Spike's plan is forfeited. Lavian's been taken care of. Just Jamansa Ord's in charge. It does feel a lot safer in Jrusar for the most
The
part.
speakeasy's a safe place too now.
And the speakeasies, although, I don't want her to live in the speakeasy, but we do have the pocket now, so...
True.
Yeah, I think I would maybe, if she wants to move in with me, she could move in with me, and we'd buy lots of fancy little baby clothes, and...
hey, a pregnant barmaid could get more tips.
Is that true?
You say, my husband ran out on me, blah, blah,
Oh, I love it. I love it.
She doesn't have to drink, just, enjoy the presents.
I think, and then I think in Melody's spare time, she still is like, the way to fix the problems in the Smolder Spire are like to gentrify it, basically. So she's like back to her beautification of the Smolder Spire campaign, where she's like getting the Temple of Sunyu to host little events there and like little festivals, like low key stuff. But that's her goal.
We'll say that any activities that you do in the temple that you establish will give you advantage on your rolls. Okay. So if you bring people there to talk to them or persuade them or incite them, anything you do there will have advantage on your rolls. Okay. Similar to the temple established or the sanctuary for foreign, we'll say once per day, if you take a short rest there, you have the effects of a long rest.
Okay.
As well. So any equipment items or anything that you might think that you would be looking for that Melody would be fixated on? Since Melody was the primary contact, one of the things I was going to arc into this, the Bullywog shopkeeper next door to your shop, Grung, has decided to retire and leave Jrusar, and he would like to sell you his shop.
Oh, how much is he selling it for?
He would sell the inventory. It's a 3-story shop built almost identical in the same fashion as the Prancing Centaur. It's a pottery and ceramic shop currently. That's what it specializes in. He would sell the whole thing to you for 10,000 gold.
Yeah, I would think we'd be interested in expanding, and we need more inventory.
Okay. So deduct that from your inventory as well.
All right,
much room for
10,000 gold
activities?
is nothing to me now. So
Professor, your armor would easily be built for you, the Basilisk armor. That's going to give you a +2 to your armor class for your Basilisk armor. Unfortunately, it is very heavy and clunky, so it gives disadvantage on stealth.
Yeah, I mean that's typical. That's fine.
Okay.
So I'll find that later. But yeah, just +2 heavy
And
armor.
it doesn't take all of your time, but it would take the whole summer for it to be built and then offered to you at the end of your time dilation.
All right, that is fine. I'm pretty happy with my Scorch Scale Maul, especially with some of my other stuff.
Okay. And I feel like you could also use this time, if you wanted to, that you and Giancarlo can travel around finding a way back to the to your plane of existence.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say the two of you discover a map and a journal that has a link to a region in the Oderlin Wilds known as the Heartmoor, and there's a location called the Heartmoor Hamlet that might offer you and your friends an opportunity to travel there and see if you can't locate this ruin where the gateway might exist.
Just for clarity on that, when we set it up, I wasn't lost. I was stuck here, and it was the demon in my pendant that was keeping me there.
Right. You're trying to find a working gateway because unfortunately, as your pendant was being misused by the demon, a demon that I'll say during your downtime you discover is a member of something called Legion, that you discovered that pendant actually destroys gateways upon your use of those gateways. But now that you no longer have that pendant curse, the trick is finding a working gateway so that you guys can be unstuck and return home. Now, there's also Planier Shift that could be useful for this as well. So either option could be made available to you and Giancarlo as well.
Okay. And that was Heartwild Cove. Did I get that right?
It's called the Heartmoor region, and the name of the town or small community is called the Heartmoor Hamlet. Sits on the kind of like on the northern edge, just under the Serpent Wind Peaks, near what they call the Ice Chalet. This is a more northern region of the Oderlin Wilds.
All right, sorry. Rudy is making it hard to type. Thanks, buddy. Love you too.
Melody, anything else you wanted to try to get done? Any other funds you'd like to spend money on or items you might want to look for? You're on mute.
I don't think so. I don't have anything else in mind. Like maybe I need a new weapon or something, but I didn't think about it. So let me.
Yeah. You can always spend the next week, and everyone's free to you have some wealth. So if you want to spend the next week kind of thinking more focused on items or things that you might be looking for, we can spend that money later. Eritrea, what do you think your travel looks like for your downtime?
I want to try to find Scanlan to get more.
Oh, I fucking love that.
About my background.
Oh, that's epic. That's so creative. I absolutely love that. That'll take your entire 2 months to track Scanlan down.
As I'm journeying out of Jrusar to try to find him, I also, as I'm journeying, I want to pick up some martial arts classes so I can, have a little bit more presence in battle.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. That opens the door to you maybe going a little bit of monkish.
That I was kind of looking in that regard.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Your journey takes you through the Gajar Sarai. The Gajar Sarai is the borderland community between the Oderlin Wilds and the Hellcatch Valley. Here you discover a dojo that you find very interesting that is operated by a particular tabaxi.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, God.
You're
Does
not going to
anybody
learn
remember this
anything
tabaxi?
useful. You're not going
Does
to learn
anybody remember
at
this
all
tabaxi's
useful
name?
in this
Spot.
Ruh-roh.
This tabaxi listens to your story and listens about your journey and is immediately struck with that feeling of nostalgia and wanderlust as this tabaxi known as Spot not only travels with you and the idea of finding Scanlan and teaching you the ways of how this particular monk tabaxi has learned and fostered their ability. That will open the door and the gateway to eventually when you want to learn your first level of monk. This journey takes you and Spot all over the Hellcatch Valley, takes you into the Ashenador, takes you on the edges of the Panagrip Sands until near the tail end of your 2-month journey, you end up in the capital city of Ankarel, where you find yourself sitting down in a very fancy tavern across from a centaur, but a strange-looking centaur. And there's actually 2 of them, as it would seem that this centaur, known as Scanlan, had true polymorphed himself into a centaur many years ago in an effort to convince his lovely ex-wife, soon-to-be wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, soon-to-be wife, soon-to-be ex-wife yet again, Pike. God, what's her last name? Pike.
Trickfoot.
Trickfoot. Thank you. Pike Trickfoot into staying with him for this incredible journey. But instead, Pike succumbed to her age and to the challenges of surviving so many encounters, and she passed away at some point in time. But sitting alongside him is the true polymorph form of his daughter. And the 2 of them are having a conversation with you and with Spot. What is the main focus of what you're trying to get from Scanlan at this point? Other than just a general background of your arrival.
Yeah, I think I would like to know if he knew who my actual biological mother was.
He would express that no one did, that your arrival was under a very mysterious context. Of course, he's also drinking heavily. He would also note that he had tried to convince Pike that maybe you should have been taken to people of more knowledgeable ability. There was an attempt to take you to Caleb, but that did not happen because of mysterious circumstances. There was an understanding that while Pike felt connected to you, Scanlan still felt connected to the Wanderlust. So when Pike and Scanlan eventually left you behind in the caretaking of the Temple of Sarenrae, it was the express expectation that you would be well taken care of, and that the true nature of your arrival would only be revealed upon the understanding of you finding your way in the world. And the fact that you found Scanlan, he does affirm your vision and your understanding that you are connected to the celestial, and that it's possible that your journey is not yet written, that you are on a bit of a voyage of both discovery, and that your mysterious circumstances were designed to keep you safe. He'd also give you a gift. He's going to give you an item called Scanlan's Bag. Scanlan's Bag, once per day, you can retrieve a random potion from the bag.
That's pretty awesome.
He looks over at you. He's a bit drunk and tipsy, kind of getting used to his, horse's tail and his horse's body. Look, I know me and Pike never really did the best things we could do, but we tried the best that we could do whenever we had to. I took it really hard when Grog finally passed away, and took it even harder when Pike passed on as well. But, we don't live forever. We're mortal creatures, but I can't help but notice your agelessness about you, Eritrea. There's almost kind of a youthful quality to your existence. Maybe that has something to do with what you're doing. Maybe that has something to do with this journey you're on. I don't know. But what I can tell you, if you have friends, which you strike me as someone that does, especially this gorgeous looking tabaxi, which I love playing with cats. It's so much. Anyways, his sister kind of smacks Scanlan on the shoulder. I know. Anyways, in the far east of Marquet, there is a place called the Tusk Dirt Savannah. And here in the Tusk Dirt Savannah, on the very edge of it, there is a community known as the Hosadat. I think you'll find your journey very informational there. I don't know why, but I think if you travel there and look into what intrigues you most about yourself, maybe you'll find a clue or two about you. It is always said that the first of all deities and the first of calamities occurred in the Panagrip Sands. There might be a connection there. Something Pike always suspected there was one. The secrecy and the hidden nature of your arrival always gave her pause and thoughts about you. Even on her deathbed, she thought a great deal about you, Atreyo, and wished she could have done more for you, but unfortunately, she couldn't. None of us could. We always felt that exposing you to the true world would put you at great risk, but we didn't know why. We didn't understand why. We knew it could be dangerous. But, yes, I know, daughter. I know Caleb never agreed, but Caleb's an asshole. Anyways, that's all I know. I wish I could tell you more.
Well, it's definitely much appreciated.
I wish to give you one trinket. I don't need it anymore. He pulls a small item out of his pocket. It's in the shape of a door, and he hands it to you. It's very small. This is my trusty magic mansion that I've been using through all of my travels. Works once per day and acts just like the magic mansion spell, except inside I've put a few special caveats. Do me a favor. Stay out of the room with the red door. You'll find it very disturbing.
I know you're all right, kids.
And while I can pass the mansion on to you, I cannot give you the ability to reshape it and remake it. But I have no need for it anymore. Where me and my daughter are going, well, let's just say we are going to be transcending the physical of things. They kind of get up from the table and their hooves kind of scuff on the ground. It's very good to see you again, Artreo, and good luck on anything you wish to find. And the two of them just kind of quickly leave out of the tavern in Ankarel. Now, I know we didn't have time to get to the full detail of Professor Jalbatros. Anything else you want to wrap up with, Eritrea, during your travels?
No, I don't think
You sure?
so.
Keep in mind, you guys can create addendums. This is more of a... I knew some of you were thinking more deeply about it, so I wanted to be an opportunity to drag it out and inspire the other players. So obviously, the 2-month cycle tonight was meant to get you all started and warmed up to the idea of what you're doing and to put you into the groundwork of it. So over the next create your week, create works and addendums that you'd like to tag on to this effort. I never worry about Professor Jabatros. He will always deliver me volumes of fun shit that he would do during a time dilation. So I'm never worried about that whatsoever. But this is your little 2-month adventure that you're on. So anything you could think of, an item that you would like to, you've got plenty of money to spend. So if you want to peruse the D&D Beyond and other magical item books that might be at your leisure, you're more than happy to try to convince me that you'd like to find it and purchase it. If I deem it a little bit too powerful, I might say, unfortunately, that item is unobtainable at the moment, or vice versa, or whatever might happen. But I want you to use this as your creative platform over the next week to kind of tie off all your loose ends, make all your tweaks and addendums to all this, which may not be super easy for Ryan and Alexa, because I know you're moving this week, aren't you?
We are. Yep.
I'm on Friday.
Just to be clear, Melody and I both found +3 Holy Avengers, like just in the basement, right?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Just
Cleaning
lying
it up.
around in the bin of discounts. Well,
Yeah.
everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. We will see you all next night. You guys linger, and we'll talk about the schedule for September. Holy shit, the schedule for September. All right, everybody, be safe, be kind, and don't forget, play a game. We'll see you all next week. Bye.